We're here.
Just gonna.
You may
Happy
not
New Year.
you may not believe it, but this is the first stream of the new year.
Oh shit.
For I think
For
all
all
of
of
us.
us, right?
For all of us. Yeah? Literally all
Does
of us.
mine count? Because mine went into the new year, but I don't think that should count.
No, I don't think
didn't
it does.
start in the new year.
No.
Okay, good.
Mine also went into the new year, so mine didn't count.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't count. It
Nah.
doesn't count.
But you count. That's right. You. I'm talking to you.
I can.
Whoever
count.
wants to take that,
Up to 5.
you all count. That's
Maybe
right.
6 on a good day.
Yeah. Everyone counts. I'm the only one without a background. I feel weird now.
Pick one real quick. Real quick. Just
Hang
pick
on.
one.
I'm going to cycle through backgrounds
Yay.
while
Okay,
Orb
okay.
introduces us and what we're doing.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
Well,
Welcome to Natural 30s, where we all pretend we are not pushing
I'm not going to do that.
any more into the 30s. We want to stay back where we're 20. No, we're Natural 30s. We're here tonight. I'm Wetter Storb. I play After Orbit, the Wood Elf Ranger. We've got Aussie Defro being the throwest man, running the buttons over there. Yep. That doesn't like a.
I was like, go on, sir.
And he plays Rudy Magic Hand McGee, which is a. Look, he was the hands.
What?
He's a human cleric which has died but come back alive, and he's choosing too many god mummies to really know where he's gone. Then we got Cuddly Raptor playing Nana, which is obviously the cutest little friggin' druid around. Let's just think that. Not the best class, I will say that though.
I think the bot would beg to differ.
I
Yeah.
turned that bot off,
Oh.
but I'm about to. Don't even worry about it. Nothing's happening.
Nana's probably fixes everything with food, even if you're not broken. And then we have the person that puts the most amount of effort into every D&D session than any of us combined, and that's Josie. As she's there having a good old yawn, trying to wake up, where most of us are on the other spectrum, trying to go back to sleep because everyone stayed up last night.
I feel like
Josie is the dungeon mistress of the whole place, and she sets the rules, so don't piss her off. What are we doing tonight? Well, that's pretty easy. We are recapping exactly on what has happened to us all in the last 3 years. It's basically we can't fit it all into one session, obviously, otherwise we'll be running around in circles like a little hamster that's lost his footing. But we'll get there.
just like this analogy, we will get there eventually.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can keep going on talking more bullshit, but I'm gonna just let it back to everyone else in the group call now.
We'll-
Hi.
We'll put the orb hamster back in his cage. Yes, terms D&D wise recap, not
No,
life
whole
recap.
life. You're gonna hear all about it, terms.
Well, in the beginning, I was a young lad.
There's only one way to start this.
Hmm.
When I was.
That was actually not where I was thinking. I thought you were gonna go when I was a young warthog.
When I was a
Wow,
young
I'm a
warthog.
Thank you, Orb. Thank
That
you,
was-
Orb,
that
for
was
calling me a
pretty
warthog.
wow.
I,
That
I,
technically
I
is-
embrace my inner Pumbaa. Sorry.
You,
Um,
you nailed it.
No, that was pretty good. That
I'd-
was pretty good.
I'd like.
Applause for Ozzy.
Oh shit! No,
Mhm.
that's
Honestly,
not.
the duet
no,
was. I would listen to that.
Never
duet.
happening
I'm just
again
saying.
now. Nope.
I'm just
We've
saying.
done the duet before on Twitch things years ago.
We have.
I'm
We-
gonna.
I have
Oh,
not seen
back
it.
in the days of
Here
Twitch
as well.
Sings. That was a
Twitch
good time.
Sings. Wasn't that 3 years ago? Here
That
you
was
go, here's
actually
your-
3 years ago. Yeah, that was. Twitch Sings was. Oh, can you imagine a natural 30s Twitch Sings choir?
No.
Oh,
That'd be
okay.
pretty
Well,
sick.
What? Hang on. We're doing like an
Just
acapella
no.
group or some shit.
Oh, no.
no, just
I
no.
can't imagine it. I need to see it.
No,
Ah.
no, that's
Oh
well.
my god.
There ain't no Twitch Sings no more, so we ain't doing that. Sorry.
Womp womp.
I'm making it.
You're making it.
Hmm.
Are you going to single-handedly go find the contract for every single song.
Somebody's gotta
that
make it
was.
big.
Yeah, or small. Like really.
Well, for
We're,
Cuddly,
we're not particular.
Cuddly to make it big, she'd have to take more steps than everyone else. I feel like that's like twice the amount of work.
I had to take about twice the amount of steps on our walk today, and I just want you to know that I'm very wounded by that comment. Not my fault. I got little legs. Okay.
Yeah, you wouldn't know it by looking at Cuddly on stream, but she's 90% torso.
It's true. I've got no legs. I've got like 1 foot legs. One foot on each leg, but also I'm over it.
Is
I'm
your
done.
leg
Having
made of a
more
foot?
feet
So
per
you got a
leg.
foot and then a foot that connects to the knee? Is that how this works? Or
My legs are made of 3 feet.
Yeah,
And they all-
Cuddlies don't have hips or knees. It's only ankles.
It's just ankle
that-
and like conglomeration of feet.
does that mean Cuddly can lie? Because if the hips don't lie, and Cuddly has no hips, then she can lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
True,
she
this is
is
true.
always ankle deep in it.
Or
Also true.
you would not want to go back to the 50s showing all that angle.
But I would want to go back to the 20s.
20s.
Just so many feet. There's so many feet.
Speaking of feet, how about that
Don't-
D&D
don't-
recap?
No, I don't like this segue.
No. As soon as you're like, I was like, don't you segue off that, please.
How many feet do you think we've traveled in our campaign?
Oh, man.
See, there you go. There's your segue
Mm,
right there.
We fumbled, we fell, but we found our feet.
Get banned. Man,
Aren't we so lucky? Exclamation point ban is a nice laughable comment, whereas slash ban, that's where we get into trouble.
no, that would
That's-
be.
Oh, let me try that one.
Yeah, no.
What does that one do? Oh, weird.
Oh gosh. But yeah, we're here just to have a bit of a chat about the past, well, the campaign that's still running. As you can see, next to Josie's square up there, you can see our schedule for the next couple of weeks. Essentially, for the next Sunday, we have
Sunday.
we have the final three
Yep.
asterisks episodes
Yeah.
of the Dramonia campaign. So
Asterisk, because
yeah.
we don't know how long that four-face fight is gonna take.
yeah.
Which, to be honest,
Terrifying.
I love every year we've done this. We're like, we should be done by March.
We don't set any dates, or
We don't. No, but we
I
have.
know.
We've literally set dates this time.
Well,
Why would
we
you do
have,
this?
but
It's on the
really,
stream.
anything could. I mean, we'll get done early if we TPK in the first phase. So
There you go. We can
we could exceed expectations, really.
absolutely where I was going to go with that. Honestly,
mhm.
let's
I'm gonna
just
say-
line
I'm gonna
ourselves
say
up
this,
for a
I'm gonna
nice
say
breath
this.
weapon. You know.
Mhm.
there's no winning or losing. There is only the ballad of the end.
That's comforting and also not at the same time, but I like it.
Winning
It made
or
me even more
losing,
scared.
it is still a path to the conclusion of this.
That's
campaign.
right. That's right.
Mm,
The campaign
yeah.
ends one way or another
True.
in 3 to 4
It's true.
Sundays. You know, the true
That's-
winners
Team
is the chat of the true winners, because
No,
they
I
get
feel
to
like I'm the
giving
true
us
winner.
support.
yeah.
Because
True.
being here and supporting us today is actually the final step in this channel reaching affiliate. So those of you who are waiting for the silly channel point redemptions, we're looking towards the future.
Not
We're
only
starting
that,
the year big.
not only that, we've hit 72 followers in a span of how many months we've been streaming on this channel?
One.
Like one.
That's
the
right.
entire
right.
point.
One.
We
Not
did
one.
start with like
it.
30
No.
though.
No, that's what I'm saying though. Like
Mm.
the amount of people that come and just supported this channel in such a small amount of time
It's pretty insane. It's very
It-
insane.
makes us feel very humbled.
It does. It
Oh,
does.
yeah.
And we are. There are things working behind the scenes to make sure that support is then reciprocated back into the community. So I hope everyone is excited for the future.
Mm. Mm. Don't worry, chat. We'll give
Yeah.
you ways to interfere with the final battle soon enough. I mean, what?
Now, Terms, you can't be saying stuff like that because we won't be able to leave our rooms to go to bed because our heads will be too big.
Yeah.
Mm, mm.
You
I
can't
mean,
say that sort of
Aussie is already world famous according to one Australian child.
That's
Okay.
true. That is true.
I have another story. There is a second Australian child that knows Aussie Dev Pro.
There
Yeah.
are two
Whoa.
There's
children
a
in
second
Australia.
one,
I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know.
If
about
you-
I think
that.
I
if-
met them both actually.
No, well, this is the
Two
thing.
children.
So now this is coming from one of my cousins that I met over Christmas.
Mhm.
They, because they're in high school, they got laptops in high school at the moment, and there are some classes where they just like you bludge the class, right? You just at the back of the room, you just scrolling
Mm.
througly websites on your laptops, whatever, right?
I've
Apparently,
literally never
Twitch
done
isn't
those.
banned for some
Oh,
unknown reason. Twitch is not banned at this school, so it's not like blocked and all that jazz. So my cousin saw that one of her classmates had in their follow list Aussie Defro.
Dang.
And I was
Ooh.
like,
Did she pull rank? Did she like? Name
no,
drop?
she didn't
Did
say
be like, I
anything.
know that-
She did
oh.
it. She clammed up. She didn't say anything. She was
Oh.
she was embarrassed.
oh, that's
Wow.
funny.
Well.
But that's
extremely
right.
funny.
2 Australian children now.
Dang. You better believe I would have name dropped. I would have been like, yeah, I know him.
So I was just
I would've
like,
done it.
oh, cool. Like, don't tell me their username because I don't need to know these connections.
I don't even want to know. These
I don't need to know these connections. But I was like, oh, there you go. Orb's kid has competition now for #1 fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a full-on fight. He will fight.
The Natural 30s channel does not agree with parking lot fights over who is the greatest fan. All right, we do not.
No, it was a Pokemon battle.
Pouch
The
pets?
Natural 30s, yeah, the Natural 30s group does support a Pouch Pets battle as
Yes.
long as one of them is not a druid in disguise. You do
Yep.
need to check.
That is cheating.
Yeah,
We-
that's fair. That's
Well, okay, let's back it up from cheating.
I
I
mean,
mean,
is it-
maybe
is
it's
it
just a
technically
difference of
cheating?
opinion. You know, is it really cheating if
I-
you can be that animal? I mean,
I
I'm
will
just
get
saying.
the Pocket Pets, Pouch
Yeah.
Pockets rule manual.
If I was a
guide.
druid in the Pokemon world, I would be making bank. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, if you were a druid in the Pokemon world, would you transform into Diglett to finally squash the rumor about what Diglett looks like underneath?
Yeah, I would have to
No.
know.
You
I would
have to know?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you wouldn't tell anyone, would you?
No.
You just
Mm.
wallow
You'd
in the
fuck
fact
with
that
them more.
you know the secret. And
You know
perhaps part of the secret is being unable to tell. It is such a profound knowledge.
I would probably tell one other person so they were burdened with me,
Oh, the burden
and like
of
no one would
knowledge.
believe them because I would never turn into Diglett again. You can't.
But Terms
And
is
then-
asking,
yeah.
can druids in Pokemon be caught in Pokeballs?
Ooh, probably depends on the
I
Pokeball,
would
yeah.
think so. I would think so.
There are Pokeballs out there that are pretty beastly. I'd say it's probably possible.
Yeah.
What if
Wild shape
what if every
fails while you're in the
Pokemon-
ball.
Then I hope you like yelling out "Go
You'd
Cuddly
be
Raptor."
fine.
because-
Pokemon are bigger than us sometimes,
Yeah.
so like you'd be chilling. You'd just be in a ball.
Well, according to Gen 1 lore,
Hmm.
Pokemon have a common ancestor with humans. Like Pokemons are a split off from the human like
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
evolution.
And
So
it-
at one
yeah.
point, a person was like, "I'm gonna become an animal with superpowers."
Why can't I just decide that? Because
Hmm.
then I probably wouldn't have to go to work again.
Or you would be worked even harder because, as Term says, Pokemon slavery is confirmed, and a lot of Pokemon
Oh.
are made.
You know, there was that one guy that like had a Pokemon gym, but they didn't look very happy. That like the Beedrill was lifting weights, and I was like, but why?
Okay,
You're
how does
so
a Beedrill
spindly.
lift weights? It doesn't.
I
have any
don't
hands.
remember. It
That
was like a, I
stinks.
don't know. There was like a
happens-
sand shrew, and there was like a. I
No,
don't
but
know.
here's a question:
fuck.
what happens if a Beedrill, for example, who has an exoskeleton
Mm.
like an insect, builds too much muscle? Does the skeleton like break from like the muscles? Do they like pressure outwards onto the skeletal structure? Like, can they break?
That's
Like their arms just explode and break?
no, that's what Mega Mewtwo is. Mega Beedrill is. Mega Beedrill is a Beedrill who got swole. They just
Welcome
get
to our
more
D&D
stingers.
channel where we talk about Pokemon instead.
Oh my
But
god,
this is
bugs have muscles. They can
Yeah,
grow.
Cuddly's looking it up.
Exoskeleton, right?
Yeah, I had to switch from the natural 30s like profile because I just couldn't have this on the browsing history. I was like, they can never know how invested I'm about to become with bug muscles.
Well, I mean, everyone knows Buzzswole,
Buzzswole.
right? Buzzswole is
Yeah,
the
but
buff.
Buzzswole is
Buzzswole
designed
is
like that.
terrifying.
Buzzwole was designed to
No,
look
no,
like
you
that.
didn't see Buzzswole in high school. Buzzswole was bug nerd.
Wow! Buzzswole in high school? Oh my god.
Buzzswole grew up.
You know,
took some
my
of that
guess is
super
maybe
soldier
they shed their
serum.
exoskeleton if
Yeah, they
they grow
probably-
too big for it.
Yeah.
Because they do some shedding.
Look, the next thing I don't want to meet an ant in a dark alley that's like got cracked
What is it
exoskeleton.
called? I
because
think
the
we need to call an
muscles.
entomologist.
Do I know any entomologists?
I know an endocrinologist, but that's not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same. No, I'll be honest, I think most of my friends study either bats or marine life. I need more friends. If you're an entomologist, call
Reach
me
out,
today.
yeah.
I'd like to discuss bug puzzles.
Yeah.
At Cuddly Raptor,
You're
Dinosaur
after...
Lover, what,
Yeah.
800.
Actually, Terms brings up a good point. We need an entomologist who's also a personal trainer.
Mm,
I think that would be the
Yes,
best
you-
combination to
mhm,
solve our
mhm,
problem.
mhm,
Yep,
mhm,
yep,
mhm,
yep.
mhm,
I need to
mhm.
know, yes, we need an entomologist willing to build a bug gym. Not the
Yes.
Pokemon kind that Ozzy Defra would
Bug
like to
gym.
visit, but where insects are made to... Do you just, like... Do you just mix some pre-workout in with their food? Or... Look, if you think you've seen ants swarm before, just wait.
And you know, I would give up the whole picnic at that point. I mean, you
You
take
can
what
take
you
it.
want. I'm just
No, look,
I'm
they
gonna back
would,
away.
instead of coming up on the blanket and taking your shit, they'll just go in under the blanket, pick you and everything up and walk
Oh
away.
my god. What if they like pulled the blanket from like,
Yeah,
the
but you're
chick-
still there. They just do
Yeah,
like,
you're like, oh. Well,
Oh, how annoying flies would be.
Ooh, swole
God,
flies.
Imagine flies so swole they can pick up your pets and fly away.
Oh, not well, but imagine how quick they would be too, though. Like their wings would be so strong from
Oh, but
carrying them.
no,
everywhere.
I'm imagining buff fly tiny wings. That's adorable
Oh,
now.
you're thinking.
It's a bumblebee.
It's a
You
bumblebee.
think a bumblebee situation.
Yes. Slowly flying
God,
away.
this D&D recap sure is going well.
I was going to say, speaking of flying away, the entire premise of this stream is way in the distance right now.
I have to close this. It's too interesting. All right.
Terms. Just sounds like normal Australian creature.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
true. Oh. Anyway, D&D.
Mm-hmm.
D and D's nuts.
It's
For
dynamite.
those of you who didn't know,
baby.
our campaign has actually been split into arcs. And we're going to discuss them arc by arc. The first one was actually what started off as a little 4-part adventure with some friends after I had bullied Aussie Devfro consensually for a couple of months.
It was consensual. I am legally obligated to state in front of the court, the chat, that it
Ah.
was consensual. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Aussie said, remind me every day until it happens. And I did.
Wait,
I
Josie
sure
was
did.
like, hold my drink.
speaking of reminding me every day until it happens, sorry, I know, segue, but real quick, makes sense. I found a Dark Souls role-playing TTRPG book.
The promises will be kept.
The prophecy becomes true.
The Aussie Defros lives another day.
Wait, what?
Oh. Yep.
Shit. Anyway, sorry.
Call off the snipers.
Those red dots. They were never there. Don't worry about it.
I saw nothing.
But yes, the first little chapter of our campaign, which was a 4-part adventure that then got extended, was actually called Cold Down Under. And it was a joke because in this world, the coldest region in Dramonia is actually at the south end. And I just thought it would be a hilarious pun. We also did do it slightly holiday themed since we were playing through December. So it was just a really funny title to have it called Cold Down Under. Because they're all Australians as well.
And it was stinking hot.
In Australia.
So
Yeah, it was
hot.
stink-
It was,
It
oh, it
was
was
so
a
hot when we
terrible
did it.
summer. Yeah, so Cold Down Under is the name of the campaign. It takes place in the snow, coldest, part of Dramonia, and we're just sitting there sweating. It was.
Yes.
And I gotta say, like, Josie's explaining this cold, and I just kind of look around at the others. And I'm like, I think only half of us understand this. Like, only half of us have felt.
Well, hold on, I've been to
No,
Europe.
no,
I've
I'm-
experienced a bit of cold. I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
a bit of cold. I've been in icy snow before, so I know a bit of cold.
Mhm.
I mean, I've
But-
experienced cold. I've gone to Melbourne.
This
I have
is
to
this
leave
is a
this
great point to just mention that Orb has never seen snow.
No, never.
Still.
I've seen snow before. Well, Orb has not. Um,
That's fine. You can rub in.
yeah, so it's like, yes, I'm sitting there explaining how horrible it can be to be in a really cold and like trudging through the snow. And a Happy New Year, Pemmy. Welcome.
Happy New Year,
Hey, Pemmy.
And it's just, it's not really. I think I really liked how Ozzy played into it and was like, no, my character is wearing like ski mask and goggles, and I've got like triple layers and a thick coat, hood up, like
Mhm.
going full ham.
Mhm.
But then we had Goose, who's still walking around in a loincloth.
Yeah,
Hey.
that's very on brand. Yeah,
Goose rocked that loincloth.
he did, and he still does.
Sure
Still
did.
does. What if we?
Certainly
Okay,
does.
we haven't seen Goose in ages. What if Goose comes up just wearing the exact same dire Goose pelt, but just like an armored loincloth, just
Oh,
like
shit.
Oh
Full-
Hold on. I have something for this actually, because
Uh-oh.
before we knew if Denny would be able to come join us for the final sessions, which confirmed Denny will be there, Goose will be joining the
for
final
the sessions that are
Yeah.
listed up there.
Conk, 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 conk.
Yeah,
Denny
but,
will be with us.
But I did have Denny record something just in case, just a little quick.
Oh my goodness. Do we get to hear
I
it?
don't
Is
know.
this the time?
I don't think it came through quite properly.
That's
I think I heard
Ozzy-
it, but it was soft.
Yeah, do you wanna pump up the volume on everything
Pump
but
it up.
Sirenscape
On
in
every-
Foundry?
Everything but Sirenscape and Foundry. Is that what you
Yeah.
just said?
Yeah.
Everything except okay. I
I
do
believe.
have my finger on the buzzer if I need to. Go
Okay,
for it.
you ready?
Yeah. It's a separate sound thing that appears when you
Oh,
click
no.
it.
Yeah.
No, no one heard it because it's so
it
low.
only appears
It
when
only
I
appears-
click
so
it? Holy
Do it
shit,
again, do it
never
again,
mind
do it
then.
again. No,
Okay,
do
you
it.
ready?
I've got my mouse where it needs to be. Okay, next time you do it, it should be loud enough.
My friends!
There we go. My friends!
Yeah, it's just Goose yelling for his friends with a bit of an echo.
I didn't hear it, but I think chat probably did. I
Chat
just
might
wasn't
have-
in
chat
Foundry.
might
I'm
have heard it.
silly. Yeah.
Good morning, gaming golfer.
I
Happy
should have been
New
in
Year.
Foundry.
Happy New Year.
But
Turns
yes,
heard it.
so before we knew if Denny would be able to join, I had Denny pre-record a little so that we could have, like, at the end of the session, they would just hear Goose yelling for them, and then Denny could join us.
Amazing. I like
Oh.
it.
But we're getting the real Goose.
The
Oh,
real
we
goose.
love
Real
the
goose.
real goose.
Feathers
The
and
real
all.
Goose, please.
If Denny doesn't show up in a
What?
full feather costume, I'll be upset.
We were actually talking about cosplaying our characters for the final battle, and I don't think any of us.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I
got
just
anything
bring out
together.
that Halloween thing I've got,
Oh,
and I'm
yeah,
ready.
Woo!
that,
Oh, I completely forgot about it. I was like, oh, well,
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 that's okay.
Yeah.
You remember when I used to wear that little shawl in
do.
the heat
Oh,
had the
and the
spoon.
glasses and the
Go
I have
back.
the spoon somewhere.
Oh, Cuddly, you go back and look at those first couple of episodes because I did when I was doing that video, and you see you in that shawl, and I'm just like, oh my gosh.
I'd have done it again too, and I would still. You know what? I might bring it out for the final battle. You don't know
you
me.
would have gotten away with it.
If it weren't for those meddling, I can't lump them. Ranger and cleric done. Ranger, rogue, and
What
cleric.
did we do?
Just meddled. Really?
Meddled. We do like to meddle.
Yeah.
But in Cold Down Under, we got to meet the players for the first time. As they arrived in Troll Hat, which was the name of the little outpost. You asked around, you managed to hitch a ride, essentially, with someone who was delivering the goods that had been shipped on the same vessel that you came in with to another village called Eastwind. But on the way, you stumbled upon a bunch of skeletons who immediately killed your driver. And you immediately looted said driver, and Arthur is still carrying around the cloak that he took from the dead driver.
Yeah.
I was devastated. That was the first NPC we lost because we didn't even think to like check.
We never checked him.
We were just like, okay, we gotta
he's dead.
fight these,
Yeah.
and then
He's dead.
I mean,
Just take his
I
stuff.
think he was
He's
dead immediately,
Yeah.
but like,
Yeah,
still.
yeah,
We're just like, wait, what happened to the driver? And Josie's like,
yeah.
like, oh.
But yeah, we have a question from Gaming Golfer. In Campaign 1, what did the party say or do that you're really not expecting and or threw you for a loop? The wish spell was a good one, but it didn't really throw me for a loop. What threw me for a loop in that situation was that I gave you the monkey paw roll for the group as they did the wish because they were asking for a lot from that wish.
Mm.
And my thinking was, if they're using a wish, there should still be a chance that they get what they're asking for.
Mhm.
So I had everyone in the party roll a d20, and I said the highest roll goes. If you roll a natural 1, it is full monkey paw. You get what you wanted, but it comes with like the most negative twist you can imagine.
Mm.
If the group rolled, if someone rolls a natural 20, you get exactly what you asked for with intent in mind. And I think there was like a 2 and 2 6s, and then Aussie therefore rolled a natural 20.
It was
Hello, it's me.
Saved it. Oh.
Ruiner of twists.
Yeah, but so it didn't really throw me for a loop. I was really excited for it. It was so cool. I think something that threw me for a loop that I did not expect. Ooh. That's a good one. I do tend to have a lot of ideas in my back pocket, just ready to go for things. Logging his therapy sessions was good.
Oh, would
You
it,
just went with it.
the divine intervention against Logahin? Would that have been?
The divine intervention, it didn't really. Actually, I had you. That's one of the points. I actually had several ideas for what would happen if you used divine intervention in that situation.
Right. No, that's.
Yeah. So there was. I'm sorry, but that one I actually was prepared for.
Mm.
What about fighting the Nom Nom?
Fighting the Nom Nom, I will say, okay, when it comes to throwing me for a loop, it was probably the hold monster against the demon at the bottom of the blue key.
Oh
Yeah,
my god.
Yeah. That's...
When you had River who just pulled out 9 attacks in one round.
I've never felt so
They were
powerful.
auto crits because it was paralyzed and it was just.
Oh my god.
gone.
That was It was literally like, I'm not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with me.
Because it grabbed River and tried to pull her away from the party, and then Gerald got off a hold monster on it, so it was paralyzed, and River was just like, well, I guess it's me and you, buddy.
Me and you, baby.
Let's just do some questions then, and we'll do
Yeah.
more recap talk when we get to it. Question for the players: what was a character development that happened completely naturally and wasn't one of a scripted arc that was pre-planned? I will say a lot of things were not pre-planned. Like the players had a lot of opportunity to also tell me what they wanted for their characters, so I could give those opportunities. But yeah, what is something that wasn't expected? I will say I did not expect Rudy to switch goddess at the start of the campaign.
No.
Yeah, I mean that was.
And then again.
He can't choose. There's too many.
There's a lot
They're
of
just
goddesses
all
out
so
there.
good, all right. Look. Rudy plays a dating sim when, you don't want to see that.
We would never get anywhere.
No, we wouldn't.
He's like, oh, but I'm not really sure.
No, I mean, if the hat's been thrown to me, I would say yeah. Like, the thing is with how I've played Rudy is, I never, aside from the basic backstory, I kind of just let him sort of make the decisions in the moment, and that's kind of just how I do things and how I play games anyway. But I would say like one of the big sort of character development moments was Rudy healing his mother. If we want to go completely naturally, because Ozzy, couldn't decide what to do, I just rolled a dice. Because Rudy could have easily made either decision in that moment. So I feel like the natural thing would have been, I'll leave it to the game. And the game said heal his mother. And that started leading into the, minor repairing of his relationship with his family, which I probably wouldn't have done, but that's where it went. And I was happy to take it there because that's where the dice took me. So, yeah. It was...
I feel like in the end, it also plays really well into the discussion we had where it's like, yes, Rudy chose an evil goddess, but he's still followed a fairly righteous path.
Which was his intention the entire time. He acknowledged that the power came from a dark place, but he could utilize it for good. And that's what he did.
Oh my god, an anti-hero?
That was like
I
his
wouldn't go that
lowest
far.
edgelord boy point as well, and I feel like we started coming back up into like he's a good guy. Like he was always a good guy, but he was getting kind of, he was like
He was
very,
teetering.
he was like, I'm immortal, and I was like, okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, you start seeing yourself falling apart, but you don't feel any of it. You tend to get a little bit of a god complex,
No,
all right?
Very, very, very valid. Yeah.
But how about
What
you?
about Orb?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a hard one to be honest.
You're just sitting there all quiet like.
What about your Alana relationship? Was that very
Yeah,
much
that
planned on
yeah,
your-
no, that was non-planned. Arthur getting a girlfriend essentially like
Mm.
that. That to me felt very, very natural. Very like didn't expect it. But I do have to say the whole sexy cookies on the ship, like there's like three things that I sit there and go, all right, what can I relate back to Arthur off the top of my head? Besides obviously bows and stuff, it's his girlfriend, it's sexy cookies on the ship, and Madame Tusk. I don't know why. Madame Tusk and George is a part of the friggin' after that as well, but yeah.
Yeah, so you hear that chat. George is the aftermath. What happens when you have a rumble in the between the sheets with Madame Tusk? You get George, all right? So
Oh my god, yeah, you did, didn't you? I had forgot. I had just wiped that from my memory banks. Whoa.
But it's also one of those things that, like, when you think back, you can retroactively add in pieces. Because Arthur was abandoned as a child.
Yes.
And then seeing a homeless child stealing.
Or what we
Like,
assumed was a
fine.
child who then was
not a
Well,
grown
child.
adult.
Which I thought was a
Yeah.
blind child.
Yeah.
when it comes to the Starlings, it's more that they culturally mature very early. So George would have still looked like a young mid-teenager and been a young mid-teenager, but culturally was a full adult with full like responsibilities.
Yeah.
So it was more like they mature a lot faster, but their lifespan are pretty short.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, George is always something I relate back to Arthur, because if Arthur didn't drag George back to the room, what would have the group done from there? Really?
poor Gudetone would have just been sitting there behind the
You're
camera,
like,
just waiting the entire time.
This is great.
So
Like, thanks for having me.
Been really nice.
but yeah, those would be the moments I find that was most naturally surprising on my end.
Cuddly.
Cuddly.
Your turn.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know that Nana has changed too much. Maybe in execution, not in idea. Like Nana was always supposed to be this soft little grandma figure who would take care of you and has wisdom and is pretty sassy. I think maybe a surprise is like I think George very naturally became part of the group, and I didn't really I didn't know if that was going to happen. I didn't necessarily expect it. But I feel like George and Nana then got like pretty close, pretty, enough for Nana to be like, I'm not letting him out of my sight, like we're going together on this little trip. Which in my mind was kind of natural, but I think it was a little bit like the timeline was quite sudden. But I was like, okay, no, they've gotten pretty close. But that also could do with the fact that Good and I are quite close. So it's like, well, our characters are just, they're having a good time. Other than that, I don't know that Nana's maybe just her acceptance of like that she can't save everyone and that it's gonna be okay. Like maybe more of like an acceptance of this might be how things just happen. I'll just do what I can. That I think she might have gone down a little bit of that road.
See, that's
rather than this, like, yeah.
That's funny because, like, I mean, just judging by the last couple of conversations Rudy has had with various deities and whatnot, he very much has not accepted that he can't save everyone.
Yeah.
He's still very hell bent on everyone will make it out before.
Oh, Nano's pretty hell bent on everyone will make it out, but if I don't make it out and everyone else makes it out.
No. If everyone else makes it out, Rudy doesn't make it out.
I'm
Nana's
just saying,
making it
like,
out.
if you're gonna say behind, I'm
No.
gonna say behind.
No.
They can sacrifice themselves.
Arthur already has.
Yeah, Arthur's already ticked that
Arthur
box.
already
Yeah,
has.
he doesn't need to. Arthur gets a free pass. He can just walk out of there.
Arthur has a girlfriend now.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to-
Has anyone given Jalira the Arthur pass so that like he can walk out if everyone else is gonna die? He's allowed to go because he's done that.
Yeah,
sacrifice
we
already,
need
right?
to get on that.
Yeah, we need to send her that.
Sorry,
letter.
they don't validate tickets in
Oh
the Cinder Furnace.
shit! Sorry, Orb. Sorry.
We do have a question from Terms as well. What's the closest that these jabronis have come to a TPK?
Oh, the Linor.
Linorm.
Oh, the Linor.
The Linorm.
I mean, that fireball did massive
Uh,
damage the first time.
The fireball, I think, was okay because we were at a point where we had Jalira was leaving. The fight wasn't continuing. I don't think the fireball was like, yeah, it knocked a few people out, but even if it killed someone, Jalira was fleeing.
But the banishment, though, because
Oh,
Josie
that
did
was
roll a
spooky.
dice to
Yeah.
see, and I think George is damaged. I'd say maybe leading up to that was also a very near. Probably not as bad as the Linorm,
Yeah,
but
no, the Linorm I
If-
think was definitely closer.
Yeah. If Jalira had stayed,
Oh, we were
I
dead.
feel like there
Yep.
was a chance
yeah.
of a
Mm,
TPK happening.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the fact is that Jalira herself was also afraid of death.
Yeah.
So at that point, she would rather let you live to make sure that she as well does.
Yeah.
But the Linorm, if it, yeah, a lot of things.
There was a lot of luck that kind of
There
saved
was
us, and a lot of
luck on the dice rolls.
like a lot of
Yeah.
calls that were made that like in the moment you would probably go, well, hang on, why are you making that call? But at the same time, it was very much a look, we're all just trying to scramble here,
It was a lot.
yeah.
It was like
It was a
me
lot.
get you up, go down. You get like someone else up, go down.
But it was
Just, like,
there was that delay of a
swapping the-
turn. I
Yeah.
remember there was a delay of a turn where I think I either moved Gerald's body or I did
did.
something first. And then
Oh,
Goose summoning the
yeah.
geese
That
gave
was
the
great,
opportunity
yeah.
to get everyone up, and then
Mhm.
we just managed to get over the damage threshold. I think that was the
Woo.
fight where we truly understood what, hold on, we can die if we're not careful.
That was our first
Um,
big fight. Yeah.
It took a few more fights for it to sink in, but that was the fight I think we acknowledged that there might have been a bit of a problem if we made the wrong calls.
I mean, I made that sort of first realization when we we fought the spicy meatball and you tried to jump over the gap.
Oh god.
Okay,
you
but
would
that
have
was
died if
very,
you'd
very
fallen.
flashy.
yeah.
If you had fallen into the zombie pit.
Look, to be honest, when you did that and you were hanging there, I was feeling like, oh,
But
we could fucking die.
But
Like,
it
that
looks
was the
pretty
first-
cool.
it
that
looks
was for
kind of
me.
cool. And at
It
that
looks
point,
pretty cool.
at that point though, it was still like, it sounds so callous to say that, but at that point it was very much, if a character goes down, there's still, 4/5 of a campaign to build a new character, and like we're relatively okay with that. But now, like especially like getting further in the campaign, when I think particularly when Orb, you died in that battle, that demon
Yeah.
battle, I think it was very much a, oh shit, what do we do now with the deaths? So yeah, jumping over the zombie pit, silly move. Would Rudy do it now? Probably, but it's more of a
But you do it better now.
He'd
so,
do
you
it
know.
better now. He'd be able to make that jump
exactly.
without
You roll high.
He'd roll. He's got
High
flying
roller.
boots now. He doesn't need to jump. It's just
Yeah,
go
we just-
over the gap.
You could still jump for aesthetics.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely, absolutely.
Yeah.
There'd just be a little flap, just one flap, just to make sure he makes the.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
I could double bounce.
But you're right. I suppose because I've never had a character die in a campaign and like full on, that's it, re-roll. I've never had that happen before. I think it was actually, not to steal the conversation, but how we did the quick little run in with Jalira with the recently when we zoomed in, rescued the king, and then zoomed out of the bug boys or whatever that was, yeah. And when I had in my back pocket that ability that allows Rudy to get back up on a death saving throw, and then we did the crit, and at that split second when we said no, he's dead, he's died, the cold shiver that went down my spine when I'm like, oh no, because now how are we going to deal with this? So I think the characters definitely have, they're going to have a profound effect on us if they do go down.
Oh,
regardless.
yeah. Like for a final
Now.
time. Yeah.
Far out.
Because didn't we, with Rudy dying at Wormsbane's catacomb, we ticked the box that all of the PCs had been dead.
Dead. Yep.
Yes.
That's it. We have.
Minus Goose, I believe.
Minus Goose.
Minus Goose.
As far as we
you
know, as far as we
split
know.
before we kind of started dying.
Goose might have had an arm wrestle with someone in the underworld at some point. I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah,
this.
well,
but
probably-
Goose,
probably
but
on
Goose
his-
has had an arm wrestle with one of the other. Because there is. This actually brings me great into Term's next question. Was there a hook or plot line or side story that went completely unexplored? There was one that was pertaining to Goose, but since Denny got her new job and couldn't play with us anymore, and I'm not saying you did anything wrong, Denny. We love you.
We
You're
miss
great,
you, we
and
love
we're so excited to have you back in 6 days.
6 days.
Um, But yes, because the whole there was actually a plot line, and I'm going to say this because there's no chance left to explore this plot line. The whole ordeal with the dire goose was actually like a big, like worldwide tournament. There was going to be a whole thing. So actually, Goose, after having split up from the rest, met someone named Badger who challenged Goose to a death match, but Goose managed to convince Badger to instead do an arm wrestling competition, and Goose won.
That is amazing. Oh, I love that.
But yes, so there was supposed to be a whole sort of like tournament of people who had been challenged by these massive beasts, and those who won, they were entered into this competition to prove who was the strongest.
Oh,
Amazing.
that would have been so good.
I would have loved that. Would have been intense, and I bet Denny would have still got the arm wrestle. I did see we missed a question from Golfer.
Did
I'm
we?
I'm just keeping track. If I've missed any other
Hmm.
questions, just yell at me, just at me in chat because I'm trying to keep a little list. Next question for the players: were all of your characters' near-death experiences pre-planned, and when they happened, or did you already know like the outcomes? Like did you know that what was going to happen when your character died? Because you might have had an inkling that your character was going to die.
I have to say, when Arthur died,
I had no clue.
it was just like, oh shit, Arthur's gonna die.
Because he died mid-combat.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
You just taunted the boss into attacking
Yep.
you instead.
yep. And if I didn't do that, then we would have had probably a lot more people dead. But yeah, taunted, I died, and then we had to have a conversation afterwards on what we were gonna do. Like I was very much going, oh yeah, that's it, Arthur's done. Like that was what was in my mind. I'm like, when started making that taunting, I'm like, there's no other way for this to work without losing everyone. Arthur's gonna die. I'm gonna start a new character. That was exactly my thought process through the whole thing. I was willing to put Arthur's story to bed in that one fight. But Josie came up a really great way, and I loved it so much. For Arthur to
Because
keep
I
going.
don't want like
Yeah,
when it comes to characters dying, I don't want it to be like a sad ending, like, oh, you're dead, your life's over.
yeah.
I think the only one who has had instances like that has been Gerald, where it's been because the first time Gerald died, he was still under the contract of Selishkar. So we had a discussion behind the scenes because we ended the session with him rolling death saves. He wasn't dead, but he was rolling death saves. So I reached out to Roju and I said, hey, you are technically under this contract. So if they don't get you up within the within the combat, if they wait till after the combat, you're a goner.
Mm-hmm.
And then I asked Roju, are you okay with that? And he said, yeah, sounds fair.
Mm-hmm.
And the next time Gerald went down, because instead of having a contract to Selishkar, Gerald's life essence is the prison of Selishkar now. So if Gerald dies, Selishkar and the army of demons is released, unless Gerald can find a way to do something else with the prison. So that's why I had him in his like death scene. He was in that room, and it was a similar situation. Like, hey, if it goes far enough to where the revivify doesn't count anymore, if it passes like a minute of in-game time, then the prison will break. Like, you might still be able to bring Gerald back, but the prison
We got a whole bunch of
Oh
angry demons. Yeah.
gosh.
So but when it came to Orb dying, I don't want people dying to necessarily be something sad. I want it to narratively make sense. And part of Arthur's backstory was that he lost his wife and child. And so I described that scene where there was a little cottage in the woods, and as Rudy was revivifying Arthur, she just lovingly ushered him back, like, you're not done yet.
Which, to be honest, the way you described it, because we've talked and I was straight, like, yeah, all right, Arthur's coming back. But then you were setting the scene and all that sort of stuff. I'm like, Arthur might not come back. Like,
This is too comfy.
This is kind of nice.
Because all of the bringing people back from the dead spells says if the soul is willing.
Yep.
Yeah. And you made it very hard for Soul wanting to. Like, you made it so good. Like,
yeah, but that is also part of that's like, I don't want death to be sad. I want there to be that sense of like you can rest. Like, yes, you may have died, you may have left your friends, but that doesn't mean that you will die with regrets.
That's
you
right.
don't need to suffer in your afterlife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did the same thing for Nana, where I was like, here's
That
just
was-
everyone having dinner in Nana's house.
That was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
I did expect something like that because I had seen Orb's death, and Josie, Josie reached out and just went, "Hey, like, do you want to know?" And I was like, "No, just go wild, make me cry," and she did. But yeah, it was. I don't know if this. I feel like Arthur almost got some closure. I feel like Nana kind of almost got some closure from seeing everyone there and going, "This is waiting for me. This is waiting for me," and I feel like if I tie up my loose ends and I don't win, this is still waiting for me. And then she let Jalira know that because she knew it would just piss her off.
God, the fact that you used it against Jalira was so good.
Like, even if I lose, I win. And
That might have been, if we go back real quick, that might have been something I was not prepared for. That Nana was like, "Hey, I'm gonna give Jalira a nightmare, but I'm actually just being really nice to her."
that's my pride and joy. That's my one, like, the idea where I'm like, I think I could throw Josie for a loop here. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, and I decided to run with it. I gave you I gave Nana some intel into Jalira's relationships.
So good.
Because I gave you some little nuggets of how Suriel and Jalira's relation was, and you got to see Jalira's daughter, what she actually looks like. So I just, God. But when it comes for Rudy's death scene was something that I did want to talk to you about because that was important to Rudy's character.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. It was like
being a character revolving around death. I definitely wanted there to be a proper scene.
100%. Like it's sort of, it's interesting because you talk about both Nana and Arthur having these lovingly sort of crafted scenes where there's peace waiting for them, but every time the threat of death has been thrown to Rudy, it hasn't been, peace. It hasn't been, a nice, comfortable rest. It was a threat almost from Urgathoa. Like it was a, if you don't do what I need you to do, I can just snuff you out. That's you're completely at my mercy now for the entire campaign. Essentially, that's been the case. And even now that he's following another deity, that comfortable rest is probably still not there. He needs to earn that
he's
now.
Still under the same threat.
Yeah.
One wrong step and you will die.
Yeah. And
this is your last lifeline.
Exactly. So it's kind of like, but I don't mind that. That's the direction the character has taken me, and I think that in itself is so interesting, right? I think that's really cool. And I'm glad that we've been able to have a couple of characters where it's like they've just done good things, they've got good things waiting for them, they're just going to give it their all. And then you've got a couple of characters, Gerald and Rudy, who they have to keep moving forward, because if they stumble, they're not gonna have a happily ever after, in whatever comes next. So they have to live. So it's, I think that's just a really, it creates for a very varied story, and I think that's really, really cool. So yeah,
You should jump off of that. Yeah, we've
have a
got
couple of questions in the backlog.
You
now.
keep asking.
Yeah,
chat. Go for it. Like,
Those
if we
are
don't do
great
the recap, that's cool.
Great
I think you
questions.
should jump off because you were just talking about Rudy's death, and Omina just asked what would be Rudy's peace scene, and I saw your other two questions. They're on my list, but I feel like since you were on that roll,
What would be Rudy?
what is Rudy's
peaceful
scene?
death for Rudy?
Yeah.
If
what is
Rudy
that?
had a peaceful scene awaiting his death, I legitimately don't know, because I haven't really thought about that peaceful scene. My interpretation of Rudy's happily ever after is something different, and I don't really want to explain it because it could still happen at this point, due to a few factors. So, but like, if funeral home, no, I think I think
Bathtub of lavender oil.
I legitimately, and I'll be honest here, I can't envision a peaceful sort of scene for Rudy's death. I don't think he's ready for that scene yet. Because it doesn't involve his family. That's only just started mending. I think if there was something there waiting for him, it would be the knowledge that everyone else is going to be able to live full lives because of his actions. I think his peaceful scene would be being able to watch out and see everyone else's life continue on because he's ensured that can happen. But that's sort of all I have. No.
My headcanon is that whoever doesn't go to like a really lovely, peaceful scene, just every now and then gets like sucked into the yard of this little cottage and they're like, what the hell? And then you just see dinner is set and they're like, oh my God, not again. Like, Nana, stop. You need to stop sucking me into your heaven. This has to stop.
It has to.
It has to. She must be stopped. She cannot continue to feed the masses. This is ridiculous.
What are the other questions we've got, Cuddly? You seem to
Favorite
have,
role of
eye
the
on things.
campaign from, I believe it was Gaming Golf, or was that you?
No, terms.
Terms.
I
Terms
think.
wrote that
Terms,
one,
sorry,
yeah.
yes. Favorite role of the
Who
campaign.
wants to go
Oh,
first?
it's the wish.
Your favorite
Yeah.
role was not your role. The favorite
No,
role
it's
was
yours. I'd have to think on Nana's. I'd have to think, but yeah.
I don't know. Arthur's made so many good roles. Yeah, that's a hard one because Arthur's done some shit. like I don't know, like everything from Arthur's very first, like steal the bottle and end up being a flying spell to flying potion. You know what I mean? Like, there's
Can I just say
Very
how much more
different.
calming it's going to be with a orb who's not playing a character who is not impulsive? It's so much more calm.
You don't know.
So the whole reason
don't know her
Arthur
yet.
became impulsive though, like there's a reason why Arthur was very impulsive and just did things. We were very slow, even slower than what we are now. Moving groups
True.
at the start of the game.
That's true. Or
We were
was
slow-
moving us along, yeah.
And I think I just took that on as Arthur's role to be impulsive and just like try and get us moving. And
Make
I
sure
think,
things happen.
yeah, and I think, you know, that's
It's
gone into
definitely
Arthur's
helped.
personality
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it's just continued onwards.
It's all right. I think Tinker's got that mentality going into the second campaign. Don't worry about that, mate. Look, favorite role. The wish. It's kind of like a cop out if we all say the same one.
Yeah, I
So
know.
the
but
wish-
it was
I'll take it
so
back.
good.
I'll think
The
of one
wish
for
is
Nana.
the wish
That was a
is,
pretty
is
good one.
absolutely like one of the roles which we did not expect to end up working out, and it did. I think there was I think there's been. I think it's a single. Yeah, I think that is the singular role. I think the role that will.
But what about divine interventions? Because you've had 2 of those now, right? Those have been pretty. Your pie contest.
Yeah. I don't want that to be the most memorable moment.
It's my most memorable.
No, but the teleportation to the village was sudden. That was pretty cool. But hitting a divine intervention's good, but like it's sort of like the knock-on effect of the divine intervention. Yeah, we captured Loggerhin without a battle, but we were kind of aiming for that anyway. And yeah, we were trying to go to the village or find out where it was, but you know, we just happened a lot faster. Yeah, so yeah, I think for most of the party, it's gonna be that wish.
Yeah, I thought of one for Nana.
Because that wish turned a lot of things around.
That wish that like changed the course of everything we're doing here. We
We-
wouldn't have leveled up without that wish.
We wouldn't have.
that
we
last
wouldn't have
time.
gone in. We wouldn't be going in with a full.
Lyra would have had a
Sweet.
huge buff for this final fight if
Yeah.
she had 2 full essences.
Ooh, that would have been a lot.
Not to say that she's going to be a pushover,
I feel
chat.
like
Don't
she's still
worry,
gonna
she's
have a
still
huge
going to be
buff.
able to kick our ass if we're not
Yeah.
careful. But
But it's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
the battle went probably
Yeah.
from every move counts to if we have a little stumble, we might be able to recover it. I would say that's
Yeah.
like my perception of how it's got changed.
I think my favorites for Nana was rolling high enough to get the dream. Or her, actually, these are failed rolls from other people because druids often just are like, hey, I'm doing a thing. It's up to you
Well,
whether or not it affects
say,
you. Yeah.
It said your favorite role. It doesn't. It didn't say.
Yeah, it
what
had to be
is the
mine,
Best
yeah.
role you made.
It was, yeah. If it wasn't the wish, it was definitely Jalira's nightmare. Or me just incinerating Marv with just absolutely like imagine like a marshmallow and you just drop it into a fire. Like that's what happened. Felt good.
That's what happens.
Felt good.
Mm.
We also have top highlight or 2 of Dramonia 23 from Gaming Golfer.
Ooh. Do I get to say a favorite role?
Of course you do, Josie.
Oh yeah, I didn't even. I thought you did it when I went to close the door. I'm sorry.
For me, one of the favorite roles was probably. It's one of those situations where it's. I think there was. I can't remember. I think when you were in your little tower fighting Jalira in the snow, someone went down and then rolled a natural 20 and just got back up the same round and just kept going.
Oh,
That wasn't
was that
Nana.
me?
No, Nana had to
No.
be.
Nana died.
Nana had to
I
be,
know.
yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was because I went down once in the snow
Yeah.
and then I ran into the
That was a really good one. And there was another one. I really, it's not a favorite role necessarily, but it's just the whole. No, I think one of my favorite roles because of what happened after was Nana failing against the headmaster's banish and being sent to detention.
Oh, that was so good.
That might have been one of my favorite roles.
you
Who's
did such a good job with it. Yeah.
But yes, oh my god, Gerald's. When we started the session and everyone was like, okay, Road, you have one job. Don't roll double ones. And he
literally
rolled
rolled
double ones.
I
we're
think
like,
that's
well-
that's
Oh,
definitely one of the
God.
standout. Yeah,
Oh,
100%,
God.
100%.
That one definitely
Yep.
sticks out.
Yeah.
Denny is saying Goose with the geese from the Linorm, Goose
Mhm.
with the epic arm wrestling, which I would have loved to see. Oh, Goose accidentally lobbing off the head of the guy we were tracking.
Oh,
At the very
yes.
start.
But
What?
that also brought on because Denny amazingly took that as a character development moment and started talking about Goose might be a bit scared of how much he loses himself in battle.
Mm.
So behind the scenes, me and Denny have done some changes to Goose over the course of the others
I'm
campaign.
really excited to see.
Oh, I cannot wait to have Goose throw out,
Yeah.
amazing new things left, right, and center.
Okay, so before we go to I want to talk about Gaming Golfer mentioned
A
that
highlight.
Arthur's death scene was Golfer's absolute favorite moment of Dramonia last year. It was a good one. Oh god.
Oh, yeah.
That was so good.
But also Omina mentioning Rudy just straight up dropping dead in Wormsbane's catacomb.
Mm.
I tried to subtly warn you.
Oh,
that
the
maybe
alarm
you were doing
bells.
something bad.
The alarm bells were ringing left, right, and center, but the rolls did not allow me to put the pieces together. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. And as Term said, yes, bad rolls are also memorable.
Yeah.
And what else is there? Then we have Dorky. I saw some questions from Dorky. Thought across adding more players as permanent players. I think for a permanent player base, 5 is the absolute max I will go. And currently, we have left that slot to while Denny's been away. We've used that slot for guests because I have run big player-based games, and I will say, considering how we play, the pacing
We're slow.
gets a bit jumbled. It's also the point where not everyone is. It can throw the group for a loop if it's something brand new and not pre-discussed. Um, we don't know always the expectations of other players who come into the game. There's also just the fact that it 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 becomes hard because as a DM, I do my absolute best to try and make sure that everyone gets equal opportunity at being in the spotlight. Not everyone will like take it and run with it, but I try to make sure that everyone gets proper opportunities to be seen. And with more players, that just takes up more time and effort. So I think personally, going into campaign 2, we will sit at 4 players, but we might do double guest features if the opportunity arrives. But I feel 4 players, maybe 5, it's just a really good sweet spot.
Hmm.
But I have run games that were, I think, 9 players was the biggest I had. And it like
That's a lot of people.
it made for some really fun stuff, but it also made the pacing go down because everyone needed to have their own moments.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
think like you also got to think about like the show we're trying to give here, right? You know, as Josie said, you know, we want to make sure everybody gets the spotlight equally, and normally that's like, you know, one sort of, depending on where we are in the story, that's like each person will get a bit of that sort of limelight each session. We only have like 2.5 hours, you know, per session to really sort of give that, you know, sort of tell that story. So it, with more people, that becomes a lot harder, especially when we get special guests. When we're like, well, there's a special guest here, we want to make sure they're, you know, almost central to all of it because we're, you know, they're the special guest. Also, with more people, you've got more characters to learn. You know, it's a lot harder for new people to come in and sort of like go and sort of like, you know, figure out what's going on and grow attached to the players and the characters. So yeah, 4 to 5 I think fits really well with what we're trying to do. If we were playing for 5 to 6 hours and this was like a full day sort of gig for Josie, then yeah, maybe you could have a few more people rotating in and out. But yeah,
Yeah,
we're doing this
I
for
think
us.
what also comes into it is the fact that we're doing this for an audience. We need to have in
Mm.
the back of our mind to make sure that things are happening. When I play my games here at home, it is a lot more loosey-goosey. People get up, they walk around, they go to the restroom, they take snack breaks whenever they feel like, and we play at a pace that just comes naturally. But here we have to some degree, make sure to remind ourselves regularly that like we gotta be here.
Mm.
You know, we gotta. Everyone needs
Oh, speaking
to.
of.
Yeah.
Oh
Speaking of being
shit!
here.
Shell is here.
Oh, Shell.
Welcome in,
Hi, Shell.
Shell.
Hi,
Welcome
Shell
in,
and Raiders.
Raiders.
Thank you so
Welcome,
for the raid.
Raiders.
Oh my
I
gosh.
actually
I
I
was
was
DBD.
lurking over there. I was lurking.
DBD.
Thank
DBD.
you.
You've caught us at
Welcome
a
in,
really good one.
everyone. Yes. We are.
Wow.
We're doing a fireside chat / campaign recap since we're coming into the final battle starting this Sunday. Happy New Year's! You had champagne. I have several bottles next to me
Oh,
from
nice.
last night.
Nice. And yeah,
Share.
we were doing a recap, but we've mostly been answering questions, which is great, and we want them to keep coming.
Hmm.
Heck yeah.
Old Stormy. Hi. It does have a different vibe for sure. You're running a show as much as you're running a session. Yes.
Absolutely.
So there have also been talks behind the scenes where we've had to discuss how to approach certain things that when you're playing at home in a regular game, you can just pause and talk. But during a streamed session, you have to a little bit compartmentalize and save it for when after the stream and then talk it through as a group. So it does become slightly different, but I think that's also why it's good that we're doing shorter sessions, because it is a different kind of mental effort
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's for sure.
That also circles back to like we were talking about the character deaths earlier in the night tonight. Like character deaths, we've normally, thankfully, character deaths have normally happened towards the end of the session. So we've been able to have the character die, end on a bit of a cliffhanger, and then throughout the week, you know, that player's had a talk with Josie going, right, how are we going to do this? And in fact, if I give away just a little bit of behind the scenes of the talk that Josie and I had, when Rudy died recently, very recently, we kind of agreed he kind of has to come back, because for the story and for the show that you guys are experiencing, I, as a player, cannot come back as a fresh character that late in the show. If Rudy, if the character dies in the final battle, that's one thing, right? That's it. They make a heroic sacrifice. But if someone dies in the second to last session before the final battle, like show-wise, we gotta bring it back. That being said, we also don't want it to be the characters will always come back because we're doing a show. That's, I think, you know,
We don't have plot armor.
we don't have plot armor, but
We have
also
plot common sense. Maybe?
we're
It's
always
also
thinking about
I
it.
did tell Ozzy that there is still a chance that he dies. I said
yeah.
I will give you ample opportunity, but I will not guarantee it.
Yeah, that's right.
Is what I said.
Because we didn't come out of that conversation going, yeah, Rudy's coming back. We came out of that conversation going, Josie's prepared several outcomes, depending on how I roleplay is which outcome we're going to get. And one of those outcomes was Rudy's still trapped in the boneyard and not coming back. That was one of the outcomes. And in which case, I would have had to
Rudy.
go, well, I'll just play an NPC for the rest of the campaign, you know? So, yeah, like,
And he went with the probation option, so
I
now
did,
he
I
has
did.
a little bird keeping track on it.
I love that
Making
he's
sure
had the
he
chance to
behaves.
just go like no strings attached option with Sarenrae this whole time, and he's like, no, I just cannot. There's like, oh, I wish I could live. Oh, just choose Sarenrae. I'm not gonna do that.
No.
It's that meme. I'm not gonna.
No, I can't do that to Rudy. He's already a meme, right? We can't do that to him.
We do love. We do love.
Rudy's the biggest meme.
Another one from Double Dorky. Any regret over character and class choices and what you would have changed? Also, feel free to throw in more great moments of 2023. I'd like to add in when we all figured out that the pearl that like Gerald was guarding, like for 3 years, we thought it was a huge battle, just a wedding ceremony. It's fine. Everything's fine. Like that was my best. Like I just love that it was like, oh, what is it? Oh my god, it's gonna be a giant battle. Oh my god, they're getting married. And they love
Yes,
each
I
other.
will say though, Terms did mention how they did Vaxildon's coming back in Critical Role, and I actually said to Ozzy, I want to avoid doing something like that as much as possible.
Yeah.
But there is still a chance, because we're talking about something similar. They're the goddess of death. Yes,
Yeah.
there's sometimes it just happens to be similar,
Yeah.
but I did. Like I've tried to make sure it's different because I don't want to be called a copycat, but sometimes that's just how the cards fall.
And it's also, you got to remember, we're all technically running off the same playbooks, even though this is a custom crafted campaign. At its core, it's still Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder, right? And we're all kind of using similar core rule sets, deities, flavors. You're gonna have that mix up. Now, full disclosure, I have not seen Critical Role. I've seen a few episodes here and there. I've watched the anime they did, but that was after we made Rudy. And after he was well along this track. So, you're gonna have bits and pieces that are gonna overlap. That's just storytelling. It's gonna happen. There is no original story out there in the world. At least that's my own belief.
In terms, I'm not trying to. Sorry,
Mm.
terms. No,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
trying to claim that you were
Nah,
saying
nah,
that.
nah.
I just used that as a jump off point to go into.
Oh,
'Cause that
yeah.
is something we did talk about.
Yeah.
Wanting to make sure. But for those who don't know, in Critical Role, the fast recap is that the rogue in that campaign promised his soul to the goddess of death in exchange for his sister. And by the end of that campaign, because they were also so close to the ending, they essentially said that he gets to stick around, even though he's technically died. He gets to stick around until the final fight is done.
Whereas,
And Rudy might stick around for longer.
Mm.
Rudy might also die a lot sooner, because Rudy's not made immortal. He's just been given a second chance, but with a
Fine.
probation officer keeping an eye on him.
He's totally
the
immortal.
best.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he's still immortal. Don't worry. Don't worry about it.
So yeah, players, any regrets? Denny, any regrets?
Any
well, I guess you
regrets?
kind of looked at Denny. You were changing some things about Goose, which could be. We're not sure yet. We don't want to spoil that, but
Yeah. What about you all? Any regrets with Arthur?
Look, I always have the little birdie in the back of my ear going, what if he didn't multi-class?
yeah, that's fair.
That's
But Arthur would have just wanted to be OP with bow, OP, anything that
He already
can
is
get him.
OP.
You've made sure he can do some bitchin' damage
good.
there. Oh,
he's a powerhouse. Let's just. I'm just gonna pull it up real quick.
Let's
Because-
just pull up the stats.
Let's just pull up the sets because I know for a fact that Arthur's like just stats with his bow.
Josie cries every time she has to balance a battle around Arthur.
No, we all know Arthur's gonna fire the first arrow, and he's gonna roll really good. Not like Max, but he's gonna roll really good. And Julia's just gonna
Okay,
turn and
Here we
catch
go.
that arrow.
He's got a plus 16 modifier to hit with the bow.
Plus 16.
Yeah, yeah, and his absolute minimum damage is 13.
That's so good.
That's his lowest amount of damage he can do on a hit.
Oh.
The most he can do, I believe, would be like if he crits and he rolls max damage on his dice, it's gonna be like what is it? 18 plus 8, 24. 24 times 2. What's that? That's 48 plus 12.
That's a 60 right there.
Yeah, that's like, and that's with one attack, and he's got 2 of those per round.
So
And-
Arthur did have 3, but we had to dial it back.
We
Yeah, I
had to
nerfed
nerf
Arthur. I nerfed Arthur.
Yeah.
Because as long as Arthur didn't move,
Exactly,
he
too.
was allowed on his bonus action to take
Yeah.
another shot if he didn't move. And well, I might have abused that a little too hard because Arthur was never moving in battle.
Yeah, he had a thing where I said, okay, like he can do an aiming thing where it's like if he doesn't use any movement, he can forsake his movement and get to do a third shot as a bonus action. But with that modifier and that damage, it's just
Too much.
That damage, though.
it's just too much. And on top of this, let's also remember that he's a ranger. He's got a bunch of spells that buff his damage and effects on
Yeah.
arrows. These arrows can do AoE damage. They can do lightning damage, fire damage. They can
Thorn damage.
explode.
Weirdly, they only do
they can
AoE
like, a
damage
line
when
of
you're next to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, we love a good lightning arrow, hail of thorns when Nana's standing 5 feet away.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's just
It's fine.
yeah.
I'm not mad.
I mean, Arthur, unarmed, just to hit someone, has a plus 12.
yeah, because you have the stupid belt still.
That belt that does
That belt is
minimal
so good.
for him.
So Arthur's given a belt that he wanted for so long. And they
Never
finally
letting
gave
it
him the
go.
belt,
Mm,
and he's never
not
given
taking
it
it
back.
off.
I'm never letting it go. No.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good.
What about you, Rudy?
Where
What
where
about
are we
me?
at?
Regrets.
We're still talking about
Yeah.
class regrets.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, do I have any regrets with Rudy as a class? No, I don't, because playing Rudy has opened my eyes to the sheer versatility that a cleric is.
It's true.
Because going into playing as Rudy, I selected cleric because the party at that time, I thought we needed a healer. So I'm like, oh, I guess I better play cleric. And
You played a life cleric
I
as,
played
well,
a
as well
life
for
cleric.
extra healing.
Because at the time, I thought my previous campaigns that I'd played in, the players who played clerics just played pure heal clerics. So I thought that was how cleric played. And then when we got
And now
in there,
he's got a gun.
and now, well, yeah, I think look. Let me tell you a little
Okay.
secret. I don't think he's not going to be using the magic for the next couple encounters. I think he's come full circle back to tank Rudy.
Oh, man. We love Tank Rudy. It's okay. We love.
We've
Tank
come back
We
to
love
tank Rudy. But
We love healing battery Tank Rudy.
healing battery, because Goose is back. Oh my gosh. Can we just appreciate the combo we're about to see, which is Tank Rudy tethered to Goose?
Should
I
we
do
also
wanna
mention
point-
the fact that Goose still has that item that lets him cast Warding Bond so he can half damage.
You can't touch us.
Untouchable.
Untouchable.
He does.
What did Rudy say? He's invincible? He's invincible.
Invincible.
No. So
I think,
Oh,
yeah, I
man.
think with Warding Bond and the Mortal Shackles, you could just share healing and take quarter damage.
For a while. For a while.
For a
surely.
long
I'll do
time.
some thinking because I might need to write an asterisk that
Nah,
they
nah, nah.
don't stack.
No. I shouldn't have said anything. Damn it. We're so
Yeah,
close
now
to the
you've
final
done it.
battle
Now
too.
you've done it.
But yeah,
Ah.
so do I have any regrets? No, I have no regrets with with Rudy as a class, the cleric, because I think I've explored every aspect of a cleric: the healing, the buffing, the debuffing, and the DPS. I've had a great time playing cleric, and I didn't think I was going to initially. So that's like a full turnaround. So I have no regrets at all.
That's wonderful.
So for me, I will say taking a break and playing River, I was at a point where Nana's spells were just not they were just a little, I don't know. I wasn't rolling well. They seemed a little underpowered for me. I was like, ugh. Playing River, I attacking 9 times in a my dice have never had such a workout. Oh my god, I couldn't miss. I really couldn't miss. That was amazing. That being said, I'd like to answer this with this. No regrets. Druid, you mean the best class?
Well, I mean, looking at Nana in the early game, she was all about that wild shape. The early encounters, all about the wild shape.
Oh, Aussie Dev Pro, I think she's still about the animal shapes. And I'm really excited for you to see this coming Sunday.
Oh no.
I'm really excited for you to see this coming Sunday.
Cuddly, have you set up first I'm going to turn to this, and then when that fails, I'm going to turn to this. And if Jalira does
Have
this, I'm
I
gonna turn to
ever? Oh, Josie, I did so much brainstorming with Josie, and we just went, this is gonna
It's-
work.
It's a masterpiece.
It's a
is what I'm
masterpiece.
saying.
It's so good. They'll never
It's a
see it
masterpiece.
coming. How
Yeah,
would they
there's-
know?
There's now that Nana has reached a certain level, there's a couple of things she can do where she can just. It's just silly, is what it
It's-
is, really.
Hey, if
Nerf
nothing
Nana,
else,
honestly.
if nothing else, if you can't have a laugh in the final climactic battle where everything's serious, ride or die, when can you have a laugh? Come on.
It's true. It's true.
Artur Nah
When?
can't touch us in this final battle.
You don't
so
know that.
We go ham. We go ham.
We go ham. Turns into a pig.
I will. Speaking of that, I think I will quickly then mention that I don't know. I won't speak for Roju, but I will mention that Roju has dozens of times been angry at the fact that he's playing a warlock.
Yeah, he has actually.
It's
Yeah.
hard to
Yeah.
it's hard to level up sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because like
But then yeah.
oh, I was gonna say because I remember Roju complaining a lot about not complaining a lot. That's probably the wrong way to phrase it. Like just there was a lot of the early game encounters weren't lining up well to his toolset, and it was just like he was you could sort of see it a little bit. But I think as he's leveled, he's gained a more varied toolset, and that's finally opened up for him.
Yes.
So
Which also, I will say, the fact that he had the Book of the Protectors is the only reason Rudy didn't die when you were back south.
True.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, Roju can't regret too much Warlock because otherwise Rudy wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
I think a
We
lot
like
of you have been
Roju's
saved
Warlock.
thanks to that
Yes.
book.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
But we
Definitely.
then have Gaming Golfer asked, what is our favorite comedic moments of 2023?
Oh, there's
I-
so many.
Now, you specified Dramonia, so I cannot say the other night when Ozzy said that he was a murderer.
Sorry, can I just get the clip playing in here? Hold on. I'll get it. I'll get
You're
it.
both responsible.
We're
We're
both-
both
we're both
murderers.
murderers.
Yeah, okay, we're getting it. We're getting it here.
We're getting it. Oh, you've got
Ozzy,
it.
do it.
Oh.
We're both responsible. We're both murderers.
It just came out of nowhere. Oh my god.
All right, hold on.
That
hold
was
on,
that
here
was.
we go.
Oh.
If you need to see it in there you go. I got it.
Yeah,
Nailed it.
it's just. Oh god.
That
It is
was-
from our little mini sessions in preparation for campaign 2.
Josie just crumbled.
Oh shit!
Oh,
was-
She's
it was
just like-
so good.
When I made the clip, I borderline. I was about to post it. I'm like, wait, should I ask Josie because she breaks, and I'm like, does she want this on? I'm like, nah. She would have stopped the session, and I just posted it. I'm like, nah, it goes everywhere.
It was so good. It was so good.
It was so good. Yeah.
Does anyone have any favorite comedic moments off the top of their heads?
I do
Entire
have.
headmaster fight.
that, was,
I think I'm going to run.
that was equal parts infuriating and hilarious. That was.
Yeah, for those who did not pick up, the whole fight was based on Mikolaj from Bloodborne.
Who, might I add, you can corner him and keep him in a corner and get rid of him. But not this guy, not the headmaster. We weren't allowed to corner him.
Also, he didn't have any face.
He also didn't have a face.
I mean, he also, to be fair, he was unable to lose face, no matter what he did.
Oh.
I really enjoyed when we ended up getting a new guild master. And the guild master comes to Rudy with all his paperwork.
That's pretty.
The side plot of Rudy's paperwork was amazing.
Because Arthur's been trying to get Stu paperwork pretty much the whole
the entire time you've been guildmaster.
Probably the whole
Yeah.
like year and a half
Yeah.
or so. Yeah, like
And he's rebutted it. He's said
Not
no.
touched it.
There's no
He's like,
paperwork.
it's not my job and all this sort of shit. And then as soon as we got a new guild master, and she comes over and just plops it down, I was like, retribution, yes!
I wonder,
so-
was it this year or last year? I can't remember, but we do have also the classic. That'll do it. It'll do it.
Oh, I think it was last
I
year,
think that was
and it
last-
will always it will live.
But last year
rent-free in
was
my head.
2023.
Shook it. It was October 2022 because it was right before Nana and George left. I do
That's
remember.
right.
Oh,
yeah.
yes, it's true.
Ah,
It's
yep,
true.
Yep.
It's
But
true.
lives rent free, and also we should totally have that as a sound alert in the channel. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we I can't wait to start making alerts, proper alerts.
Yeah, like,
we
I just-
haven't really started yet, chat, but we
It'll
will.
do it.
Oh, it's gonna be so good.
Oh, that should be a follow alert for sure.
Now we got so I think this isn't really a comedic moment, but it was one of my favorite moments was when Indiriel went to punch Jalira and she just stopped it. And that was a moment of but to me that's a comedic moment because it's like, oh no.
What did I get myself into. Miles
Yeah.
underground in an anthill with only my bestie half blue dragon. This is fine. Everything's fine.
Oh, that was a good one.
There were no. Do you know which was really good? Discussing brownies with Dionysus.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
That was really good.
Yep.
Game and
That was
Golfer's
great.
personal apparently was Rudy failing at the pie eating contest.
That was great.
That
was
I
Yeah.
still maintain they gave Rudy like a pie full of knives or something because there's no way he failed that first pie eating contest.
I love that you were like pulling out divine intervention and everything. You're like, I will win.
Well,
I will win this.
Like,
And
I don't care if I have to save it for a week. I will win.
and he is very happy with these winnings. Thank you.
Mhm.
Pies on request.
True.
Love it. Love it.
You know, I feel like we should also mention just anytime we saw the character Ash Morass, and we just talked about the whole, and I only got it like the session before we parted ways. I was like, Ash. And you guys, it took me a while. It took me a while.
I think there's also the Haywood family and how they
Mm.
petrified that sort of like that spy.
student.
We just
yeah.
came we
Mildly
just,
terrifying.
yeah, we just came back in this family that's all for hugs and love and fun, but they're Medusas. So when we came back in and we saw that they had like petrified someone and like tied them up, and we're like, oh,
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and Crater and his backstory with Leocel and how they made
Oh my
up
God,
and now
yeah.
they're like
Friends
best
forever.
friends.
Yes.
That's
yes.
another great moment.
And when George brings Arthur a stick, like, hey, here's your homeland. And it's just
It's
a
a
stick
stick.
with no explanation of like, yeah, stuff doesn't grow there very well, or like any of that. Just like this crumbling, shitty stick. Like, got this for you. You're like, thanks,
It's a
George.
stick.
Thanks, George.
If you want to know more about these moments we're talking about, chat, make sure you jump over to the Natural 30s YouTube channel. There's a playlist that has 98. I had to dial it down from 99 because we lost another episode, but 98% of the episodes of the campaign. So
That is the other command that I didn't add. Cool.
oh, there we go. Then we remembered it. Now.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, write
That's
it
it.
down.
Perfect.
Make a note.
I'm making a note.
Good.
That is all the questions I had written down. So if I missed any, here's your
Yeah,
chance
do
to yell at
remind
me.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I missed you, just
And-
tag every single one of us.
And it
I
doesn't
don't
have to
care.
be questions about like the characters.
Comments.
It can be like
Yeah.
questions like for us playing D&D or like, you know, how we're founded or like even if you want to ask us questions about like just, you know, running something like this live and like stuff like that. You know, feel free to ask. You know, between the four of us here, we've got too many years of streaming experience now. So it's like, you know, if you have any
Yeah.
questions on that side of things, regarding this, then go for it.
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
That's a tough one.
Mm.
Why is
Yeah.
Cuddly so small?
So that's a question
Well-
that's pondered generations, Pemmy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
I
can't
don't
answer
think-
that. It's too much.
That's like one of those that there is no answer.
No.
No one has worked out the math yet.
Because the
Yeah.
second you
Yeah.
sort of like quantify an answer of like
Mhm.
why is she so small, she gets smaller. So
Yeah, I'm
it's
like an
sort of
electron,
well,
like-
why is she even more small now? Like that brings even further questions. So it's better that no one answers that question because if people continue to answer that question, Coloraptor might shrink
It's
into
like-
nothingness.
Yeah, but it's also one of those things. It's like one of those optic illusions that Cuddly might seem normal sized, but as you get closer, she gets smaller or further away. You can't tell. Like you reach towards Cuddly, and you will just realize that you're reaching further and further down. She doesn't seem to change size, but it's just always further down.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
quantum.
Mm.
Quantum Cuddly.
It's
Yeah.
actually the
Quantum
opposite for
cuddling.
Josie. We have to when we reach for you actually reach higher. Josie's like
God,
super tall.
I don't want to talk about it because I recently found out that Orb is the same height as me.
I
Yeah,
have
but
a
we're
frame
pretty
of
fast,
reference
so-
now.
You
I
do
wanna
have a
talk
frame
about
of
it.
reference.
I don't want to talk about it, but
Which
I
is,
have
like,
more height to my shoes.
Yeah,
than Orb
yeah.
does.
Josie will be.
I mean,
tall.
I can
True.
put on my steel caps. They got a nice good couple inches on the bottom of them.
What they're not saying though is that Orb is actually a couple inches shorter than me. So really,
Oh,
Oh shit!
Wait, what? Hang on.
yeah.
But without the quantum physics.
It's all about perspective, Ozzy. It's all
Like-
about
like
perspective.
we've said in the past, it goes Scooter, Cuddly, Denny, Ozzy, me, Roger.
Slender. I am right above Orb.
And
Yeah,
if we
Omina, you're
count
right. On
Dutton,
the internet, we're all the
Mhm.
same height.
It's true.
Actually, I'm
we're all
looking.
about the heights of our chairs.
I'm looking at the camera setup that we've got going now. Orb, because he's actually. Okay, all right. Everyone suddenly starts sitting up straighter. Josie,
I don't know.
I'm off my seat.
It feels like you lowered me down. Like when I talk, I see
you do
blue
seem
border.
yeah.
What's going on?
I think what happened is things have
Why
shuffled.
have you shortened
No,
me and
I
Cuddly?
not intentionally. Not
Yeah, what have you
intentionally.
done? Come on,
I'll-
what have you done?
I'll fix it.
Why am I so
Uppies!
Uppies.
puppies?
Uppies!
Puppies!
Oh my god. All right, just hold on.
Uppies!
Puppies?
It's hard to fix live. I can't do it live. Don't pressure me like that.
He's panicking. He's
Oh,
panicking.
my, your grandmother was the same height. Ooh. Oh my god, Terms has asked the forbidden question. How much prep do you all need to do off stream to keep things moving and discuss things afterwards? A lot.
A lot. Yeah.
And most
several
of it is
hours.
Josie's. Most of it is Josie's.
Most of
We-
most of it is just me poking them to be like, hey,
Have you done this yet?
Hey.
Hey, hey.
hey.
Yes.
But if
Yep.
we're if you ask how much time I spend prepping for all of this, for
You
like
better not
session
to know.
planning and world building.
Yep. You broke her. Good
Yep.
job.
Yep.
Good job. I hope you
but then when we go live and we see all your smiling nameplates and we have a bit of a laugh and I it you know it helps. It helps.
Also, it helps that I sometimes things just come to fruition. Like for the next campaign, I've done so much world building. There's actually official designs of the various coins in the world. And I've actually had one 3D printed and painted.
Yeah.
So like this is
Woo!
what
Mm.
one of the coins in the world might look
Yeah.
like.
It's so cool.
It's so pretty.
It represents Sandra, which is the name of the moon, but also the goddess on the moon.
Okay. I love you. I am gonna run for a couple minutes and be right back.
Oh,
I
yeah,
drank
we never took
so
a
much
break.
water.
We didn't
I
take a
drank
break, this is
Just
true.
go.
so much
free.
water.
Yeah.
I will be back.
Oh my
Yeah, this
god.
is
How
good.
many hours of 2023 was spent on Dramonia? Live? Or with background talk included? Because we
Because-
actually did a lot over the last year.
Yeah, well, we were also prepping for the natural 30s to become a thing. So there was a lot of meetings and stuff based on that too. I mean, if you say a minimum of there's the stream, so that's 2.5 hours a week. I think we can easily
Well,
say
with start time, because we usually gather like 45 to an hour before.
I'm normally
we go
opening
live.
the meet call an hour early if I can.
And then we usually stay after we turn the stream off.
Minutes.
A couple stay
Yeah.
around, and then we talk throughout the week. We have meetings like several, like 2 to 3 hours
Yeah.
once a month at
Mm.
least.
If we run off like a 4 hours per week average, because there are some weeks where we obviously don't have meetings, and some weeks where we don't sort of do some extra prep beforehand. If we cut out the actual world building and session planning and just focus on like the live and the running of Dramonia, average of 4 hours a week times 52 ish. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe we say we took let's say we took about a month off. So let's say 48
Still
weeks.
around 200 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of hours. I mean, it's like any live stream, any live stream that's beyond just the hobbyist go live and chill. It there's a lot of work that's involved. Like even tonight, we hopped on. We're about
3% of the year, apparently. Terms did the
Hey.
math.
3% of the year, and we were still the top one.
No, we were at the.
What?
Well,
what's
since
the-
we were all streaming separately,
Yeah.
it does calculate viewers
does, yeah.
differently.
Gosh.
So I think
this year, 2024, Dungeons
Yeah.
and Dragons category, we're gonna be
We
up
could
there,
be on the
yo.
top. We
because
could be
I
on the
think
top.
all of us were within the top 6%
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
D&D streams.
Yeah.
Over
gosh.
20. No, it was over 2022 that we were at those tops. They haven't shown us the stats for 23 yet.
Oh, we didn't get. Yeah, they didn't give us those stats. What the hell?
No,
Twitch?
because we just swapped over. I think
Give us
they're
those
waiting a
tweets.
little bit more.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
when the next recap comes around, we can see how
Cool.
this channel Natural 30s did. But we also got a
Mm.
new question from Gaming Golfer.
Yes, we love questions.
What spell or ability did you take that you initially thought was pretty useless, but now it's low-key one of your favorites?
Wind wall.
You like Windwall? Yeah,
Windwall has done some
some cool
really good
stuff.
things.
It has done some. I'm gonna pull up Rudy's character sheet here, so give me a second.
I mean, all Alpha spells are pretty cool now. I think I have skipped wind wall. Yeah.
Windwall's pretty good.
I mean, like cleric spells, they've all been pretty good. But the ability that Rudy has that has consistently been pivotal, and
But
And-
one you probably didn't like at first, and then you've grown to like it.
I think Rudy's most OP ability is Mortal Shackles, but I never not liked it. I knew it was gonna be fun the second he got it. So if we just go into his spells now, let's have a look at his spells. Yeah. The thing is with clerics is that because you can just swap spells in and out whenever you want, you kind of you have a tool for every situation, really. One that I thought was only going to be incredibly situational and has worked once was the anti-magic field breaking up Wormsbane. I think that was a great, like, hey, I'm going to pick anti-magic shield as the spell. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to use it effectively, but when I did use it, it really nailed the situation. Anti-life shell was also fun when we fought the Nom Nom. But I knew I could turn those into fun. Yeah, I'm going through Rudy's stuff, and there's not too much I ever thought was useless.
Because Cuddly, we got another question from Gaming Golfer asking if there was a spell or ability that you initially didn't really like, but now you do.
Yeah, I was just actually I saw it and I was just looking through Nana's stuff as well. Okay, so we had to choose just random cantrips, right? And if I had known how good guidance was, well, let me tell you. But anyway, that's okay. Baldur's Gate didn't come out till this year. I think
Because
that
sorry, but when Cuddly, when you made this character, Nana, was that your first D&D character you ever made?
that was my second, but the first one didn't really take off as much. Like
I'm just
I
saying,
remember
'cause-
making it,
'cause
but that was
can-
years, like we didn't really.
Yeah,
that was my
because when
first
you make
one.
the character, that's when you pick cantrips, and you wouldn't have had the insight to
I had
do homework.
no idea. I actually picked things that I thought would go with her character, not like battle-wise or anything, but just who she was as a person. So I picked Produce Flame because I was like, yeah, she needs to make a fire for cooking.
Yeah.
And then I realized how fun fire is. So I feel like I thought I wouldn't get that much out of it. And then I think I asked you and I was like, hey, can you attack with this? And you were like, yeah. And I was like, oh. Okay.
Oh my.
Okay. And I'll be honest, I've gotten some pretty good use out of that. Like when I'm out of everything else, and or I just want to. I'm like,
throw
oh,
a bit of fire.
yeah, throw a bit of fire. What's the worst that could happen? Yeah. So that's probably mine. Like, because Shillelagh was really useful at the beginning, I think, and now I'm like, I can't get that close because I'm really squishy. So
Mm.
yeah, fire. Yeah, we love fire.
Mm.
That's probably mine.
Mm.
So yours was the Arthur. What was yours? Have you ever had anything useless, Arthur? I feel like no. Oh, the quarterstaff. Never
Oh
mind.
yeah, the quarterstaff. Yeah, that
But
was
that's-
yeah.
I couldn't hit shit with that quarterstaff.
That was the pivotal moment when you were fine. You just sighed and was like, "Fine, I'll use the bow." And since then, you've hit every shot.
Yeah, because I was. Yeah, that was a good.
We had to
No, I
convince you
totally
so
forgot about
hard
that.
to just use the damn
I
bow.
thought I was so good at everything. I was like, I don't need my bow yet. I can run up. I'm not that squishy. I got good rolls. And yeah, apparently the dice said no. You chose Ranger for a reason. Get good.
I have to bring it up every time we talk about Arthur, but when you jumped on top of the woolly mammoth with a torch to try and light it on fire.
Honestly, valid
middle
move.
of
I
a
would have done the same
snowstorm.
thing. I
In
would
the
have done
middle
the
of a snowstorm.
same thing. I did
But
a
that
similar
fight,
stupid
that
thing.
was the same fight where Nana turned into
Yeah.
Mini Rudy.
I
To
turned
try and lure it away.
because it was going after you, and I was
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna lure it. See ya. Jumped off a cliff, and Rudy was like, "What the hell just happened?
What
What have I done?"
That
What-
was back in the age
was
where
that?
we didn't know how to work as a team, so we were just doing
We had
stuff.
no
and,
idea. We were like, "Yeah."
And see, this is the thing. This is where like I think the starter campaign 2 is gonna be so interesting because while we have new characters, we don't know what each other can do. At this point in campaign 1, we know what each of our characters can do. We know what our roles are. We know how to play around it. But in this new campaign, while we as players have a better idea on how to play together, the characters and the movesets are going to be different, right? Tinker uses a crossbow, but he never really got a chance to get out of the battle to use the crossbow. But then he almost got caught in the breath attack. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's
Once again, orb targeting allies. We love it.
we do love it. We do
I
love it.
think
We
it-
need
I
it
think
to
it's
go
also-
strong.
I think it's also important to mention that the characters that you're playing right now in Dramonia, they were made for a 4-part mini adventure, and then we just kept playing. But for the next campaign, those characters are designed. They have a lot more effort put into them before we even start.
Mm.
They are fully fleshed out characters just sitting there ready to go. We even played those little mini moments on how they met each other, like 2 and 2.
Mm.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more, there's going to be a lot less of us as a group talking about what we know about each other. There's going to be a lot less of me sitting and giving exposition of what the characters might know or not.
Mm.
Because you will have started with full like lore documents of things you know.
Mm.
Mhm.
So there's so much more effort put in.
And like, I'm gonna be trying to ditch you guys every chance I get. Like, there's not as much cohesion. Like, this is a group of adventurers. We're buddies. We're pal. We're family.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, Morel doesn't know any of you, and she will ditch you if you let her.
And
She might just walk out and like, you better go after her. You know?
if you don't, you're not interesting.
she might
Tinker
just-
doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, if she's not interesting, like they're just gonna part ways, and we're gonna have 2 separate campaigns.
Therein
One playing on
comes my
Sunday.
job. Herein comes my job to make sure that they have a common goal. But I will say, I already have in the books large documents of ideas that covers a vast array of different events for the first 4 sessions.
Mm. That is already amazing.
Gaming Golfer, you say we can return to our regularly scheduled recap, but I
But we
think you're
love
lying,
this.
and we want you to ask more questions.
Actually,
do.
to be honest, like I think what was sort of, I mean, in chat right now, I think the majority of the people here today are people who have actually stuck with us for quite a large amount of the campaign. So it's kind of
and I even been rewatching the whole thing.
oh, I feel like answering questions and having time to talk, because admittedly when we run these sessions normally, I'm going to admit it, it's like Orb and I have to go to work really early the next day, so we can't really hang around to answer these questions and have these chats with you guys, especially interacting with chat. We can't really do that while we're playing, or we try not to do that while we're playing. So it's good that we've actually turned this into a bit of a Q&A.
It's fun.
It's been
very
fun,
like refreshing. Yeah.
Really cool. The recap was kind of just something we're like, oh, we need to do something to make sure Natural 30s hits affiliate. Let's just go live and just chat. And then we're like, oh, we'll just do a recap. But the questions have been fantastic. Like this.
I got a question to throw back at them, maybe.
A chat?
Yeah, chat. What emotes? What's like emotes? Would
Sorry,
you
I
want
had to
to
stop
chat?
you, Orb.
Stop, Orb. Orb.
Orb, since you're not, you got your wife is now in chat saying that she's fine and
I
she
see
needs
this.
to rest.
Yes. All right, I'll be back in a sec.
It's all good.
You forgot to mute.
Yeah, I'll mute. I'm just also leaving.
Oh man.
I'll be back.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
All right.
Danny, you feel Das Goose is really you're really synergized with Das Goose, and your other characters have been fun, but you weren't like as connected to them. That makes sense. Yeah.
We just.
I mean, you're so good at Das Goose.
That's it. The amount of energy you bring to Das Goose. Like, I think out of the 3 years we've been playing, I'm equally hyped to fight Jalira as I am to bring the energy that Das Goose brings back into the fold. I don't think we're ready for what this is going to do.
He's so wholesome. And he's leveled up a lot.
Yeah.
And he'll have changed, Josie said. Like, I'm super excited.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much, but he has changed subclass. Is all I'll say.
Ooh, I love that. Okay. I love that for him as well.
All right.
Goose went through some character changes. Yeah, he actually did. He went back home and talked to his family. And then he went on his merry way.
He saved the princess.
He needed to find the swan, the swamp swan princess, the princess who happens to be a swan who lives in a swamp.
Mm-hmm.
And he got a pet cat, which is actually a displacer piece.
Yes,
yeah,
and I love that. We've sort of been following along. They've got a little like text channel, so we've been like reading and just he might be part of Jalira's crew. Jalira might be Das. Like sure,
The players have been sending memes where they're just like, anyone could be Jalira.
Anyone's Jalira. Is this Jalira?
Jalira all along.
No, it was me, Jalira.
Oh dear.
Yes.
Now I need the JoJo piano riff to start when it was me, Jalira. Oh my gosh.
After as many times as we have, and we've just been like fooled, and I'm like, damn it, fool me 5 times.
That
honestly,
tower
shame on me at this point.
I think that as Darcy, right, as Aussie Dev Fro, I think that scene will forever be etched in my mind as like my humbling moment of Roju / Gerald really trying to hone it into Aussie Dev Fro / Rudy, because I feel like that's where it got to, was like, just wait. We need to do this properly. And the second we're like, no, we're just going. And it flipped on its head, and it was Jalira.
Yep.
And we were in trouble. Big trouble.
It was me, Jalira.
She has actually been around several times in scenes, and you just haven't clocked her.
Oh my god, I do need to know.
I was gonna say,
it
won't change anything now to know what scenes.
Can you think
No,
of any?
but I will say there were a couple of times that she was around that you didn't pick it up. She was when you were in Southport. The reason she showed up when you were talking to Logahin is because she was actually there
at the bar.
She was not at the bar, but she was there when you were walking through doing the auction. And she was around when you were just walking through the streets and shopping. I think she was actually one of... Yeah, the person who sold the tassels was Jalira.
Huh?
Sold the tassels?
My tassels?
Yeah, it was Jalira in disguise. And
She
she
want to
was
know
also
why I wanted tassels, or did she just not care at that point?
no, she was just there.
I'm
She was like
ew.
she
Vinny didn't
wouldn't
even
attack
pick
you
up
in
on
mid of
her.
street.
Wow. Vinny didn't even
Uh,
tell me I'm having a word.
She was also
Cradle was
Oh,
Jalira
God.
confirmed. No time.
Yes. Crater just turns into Jalira, but then like turns back into a barrel. You're like, huh?
Rudy will
Oh,
keep
God.
trying to pet her if that was the case.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
The
fair.
heavy petting will
I can't.
continue.
I know we said it wouldn't change anything, but I think I might have to burn the tassel. Like I don't. I need a motivation to burn
I've
those
also
tassels.
had there's actually also in my book, I won't show it right now because there's spoilers. But whenever you have scryed on her, there has been like, well, not every time, but often when you've done it randomly, I have had like a little rollable table to see what she's up to when you scry.
Oh.
That's what happened last time you scried, when Gerald scried and she was just sitting in a dark room sobbing.
Oh,
That made me feel pretty bad.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know.
I felt
yeah,
a little
like,
rough
yeah,
about
that
that
felt
one.
pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
I'm not gonna
boy.
stop, but like, it made
No.
me feel bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was thinking about them, like, why would she have been crying?
Hmm.
Like, after Wormsbane had disappeared, but like...
She's like super alone, but also was she faking it? Do we know? You know?
No.
Is one of them her on the toilet scrolling on her scrying
Yes.
stone?
How did you
No,
know?
because they, I don't know if you saw it, Denny, but she was not the one scrying. It was the
headmaster.
headmaster.
Yeah, he was the one watching us.
The
Mm,
only
yeah.
reason you actually got like the headmaster fight was because you scried on Jalira when she was fighting Endurial and Tura.
That was so good. Can we also say that was Ozzy Devfro's idea to scry at that time? So not only did he say maybe we should just check on her to see, he also was like, let's use a wish, and also clinched the wish.
Because
you know?
because what's his name died? The dragon died.
Shams
died.
And you're like, something's
and we
happening.
got that earthquake sort
Yeah.
of thing that and
Yeah.
and
That was a good call.
I was like Rudy was like, well shit, you know, if Shams is dead, Jalira could be like that moment, like Jalira could have been like
going for Yarig.
Yeah, because
I thought
Yarig
Yarig,
in
actually,
his
yeah.
in his moment of grief would probably be at his weakest.
Hmm.
Like assimilating Shams' power, like I thought that was the moment. So we
Mhm.
had to check on her, but
Yeah.
never would I have thought that she was fighting.
And it was smart to check on her and not Yarig because we would have missed it. We had to be sure where she was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
That was
will
really
say, the
good.
reason she sent Logahin to Yarig when you were in the Reflected City was because Yarig was at the time the only one who she was afraid of.
Mm,
Because Endurial only has half a dragon essence.
yeah.
Tura had just starting assimilating an essence, and River as well didn't exist at that point.
yeah.
She was like there was no person with the dragon essence of Muhit. Muhit was just under the poison link.
Yeah.
So Yarig was the only person, like humanoid, with enough power to take on Jalira.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason she did not
That's
go
cool.
for Yarig. That that was left alone because
Mm.
Shams and Yarig scared her at that
Yeah.
point in the campaign.
There you go.
And they're about to scare her again, baby.
I don't know. Like, is she scared? I don't think she's confident, but I don't think she's scared either.
I feel like at this point, here's my thought on it is I'm getting vibes of like everyone's left me. I'm desperate, but at this point I have to see it out because I'm in too deep.
Yes.
That's what I've like that's what I'm sort of picking up. I don't know if that's at all accurate.
Which is why I thought like there might have, and it's gone now, I think. I think the time frame does not allow us to do it, but
yeah.
I think there might have in an alternate universe be a way that we could have ended this without a fight.
I wanted to talk to her daughter and
Yeah,
see if that would like bring her
if there was a
in.
way to remind her of her
and
humanity.
had the chance to talk a couple of times, but
Yeah.
the RP sometimes it just doesn't line up.
Yeah,
Oh,
and like the rolls and whatever Josie rolls to see how she's
Mm.
feeling. Yeah.
as a show and a story, I think the fight is gonna cap it off brilliantly. It's interesting. I don't think. I mean, again, I'm not aware of many other people that like do these sorts of things, like the role play and the tabletop live. But has there been a major ending to a campaign that has ended without bloodshed? Like, I mean, is that just an idea that's just never been, that hasn't been done yet, or?
I don't know.
Because like then my next thought is like, what would an audience think of that? Is if you have these characters that are as powerful as they are, and then the party manages to end it all without bloodshed, without any form of fight.
That's really cool.
That's
like
still
to
a
me,
cool
that's very
ending.
cool.
As a player, that's a cool ending, but as a show,
I mean,
Yeah.
it's like Luke versus Vader in the last fight in Star Wars, and then before they actually do the cool lightsaber battle, they go and just talk it out. I think it'd be very anticlimactic.
oh,
I guess.
absolutely. No,
It
I see
might.
that. Yeah.
But that's also why I said earlier that there's no
Yeah.
winning or losing.
Mm.
There's
Mm.
just an end to the story.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's Jalira and Duskuse's arm wrestle ending. That's right.
I'm here for it. Let's
Um,
go.
Because
Oh my
yeah,
God,
like
do
that's
I bring up Jalira's stats so to see who's the strongest?
No.
No. Have a roll off.
no. I kind of don't want to know.
I
still,
do want to
not-
have a
not-
roll off though. I
Oh.
I definitely do.
But that's the thing, and I think that's something chat needs to remember as well. We could.
Solaria demands blood.
That's fair. That's
There'll
valid.
be blood. Don't worry. But
Blood
like,
for the Solaria god.
Oh, that-
we could lose, and I think that's something that everybody's got to remember here. This is not scripted. We could lose, and if we lose, that's still an ending, as Josie's been saying. That's still an ending of the
Still
campaign.
an ending.
You know?
Because the world does it. It's look, one of my favorite games, one of my favorite quotes that is also a game title is "The world ends with you." And that is true, but also not. Because the world ends with you is more of a live your life as if you're the protagonist. Make sure that you do what you want. But at the same time, even if the Vanguard of the Black fall to Jalira, whether they are completely wrecked or whether it's a tie, whether they fall to something else, just the world still goes on. The events happening in the world will still continue to unfold. And we just don't know yet.
No, we have no idea. We're all going into this final fight going, we're going to bring our best. Josie's going to bring her best. And, may the best rolls win. That's essentially how it's going to happen.
And
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, and it's exciting. It's
It's
exciting. It's nerve-wracking, though.
terrifying
It's
and
very
exciting.
nerve-wracking.
And I have been really, really on the players and said, make sure that you know your own stats. Make sure that you are prepared. For the druid and the cleric, check your spells.
Yep.
Make sure you have what you think you might need. Go through all of your various features and abilities, because I will, and I've said this as well, and I will say it again on Sunday, once we start that final fight, I will be out for blood. Within the framework I have written for myself, with stat blocks and other things, I will use all the tools I have given myself, and I made sure to balance them as well as I can. Yeah, I will, within those frames, try to win as Jalira. This is the only time in the campaign where it will be a full-on party versus DM.
Yeah. And you
Which
expect
I
nothing
can't
else.
wait.
Yeah. That's how it's got to be. At some point in every campaign, there has to be a point where the DM has to go for the kill. Because
Yes.
that's how these things go, right? There has to be a
You
final fight.
haven't gone for the kill earlier with us.
Oh, well, no, I
Right.
wouldn't
I
say that.
have a few times. I have when the pit lord made mashed potatoes out of Arthur.
When Jalira
that's true.
double tapped Nana.
When Jalira double tapped Nana.
Yep, valid.
All these
Worst
punishment
mistake of her
panthers.
life.
I have to say, Arthur could not fight those panthers at all, eh? Every time we've had a fight with
Wait.
them, Arthur was the first one gone. Like, he couldn't fight them.
Those panthers
Hang
are
on.
so good.
Is there wait, okay, normally in RPGs you can fight the final boss, but then you can reload a save like before the final boss or something, and then we can find the secret boss. Is the secret boss Arthur Nar and those freaking panthers?
Yeah.
Can we
No.
can
For
we,
sure.
Oh, no.
There was actually something I had planned, but the way the story went didn't go towards it. I had planned if you had tried to fight or help with any of the Titanics.
Mm.
That would have been
yes.
more akin to like an MMO raid boss.
Yeah.
But not
where it
like-
would-
You don't like
It
kill
would've
them, right?
been-
You
it
just
would- no.
herd them. Yeah.
Yeah, but it would have been like, for those of you who played Monster Hunter World, it would have been like the fights against the big volcano monster,
Yeah.
where you're essentially just trying to shoo it off or corral it in a direction, and you're just more being annoying little bugs trying to get it to buzz off.
Hmm.
It would have been more like that, where you're just trying to do your best.
Yeah.
And Nana's just there
and-
going,
and
"That's
it's-
my grandson."
What, the big
So
ugly
hard
one?
saying,
Yeah.
if I wanted to determine the good guys will win outcome, I'd watch regular TV.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, that's
That's
what I'm-
very true.
So yeah, I've been on the players. I've said make sure that you have everything on track, because once we
Mhm,
roll that
mhm.
initiative,
Mm.
I'm coming.
It's on, baby.
Mm.
Yep.
Josie, a question for you. How
Yes.
many times in your entire role-playing career, right? How often do you get to cut loose like this and just go for it? Do you
I
get to do
will
that
be
often?
honest. No, I will be honest. I did get to do that just the other day at my home game of Pathfinder.
Yeah.
That's
'Cause
exciting.
they run into an encounter that was designed to be so scary that they're meant to run away from it.
Yeah.
But they went for it.
That sounds like
Hell
us
yeah.
too. Yeah.
Well, I would go for it too.
And by the end, when the final attack struck, there was only one person standing.
Oh.
Well,
And I was just about to ask, because there were two people down with one death save. Because we're playing Pathfinder 2, death saves work a little differently.
mm,
It's more like instead you need to get 3 successes or 3 fails. It's like if you fail, you go down 1 notch. If you succeed,
Right.
you go up 1
Right.
notch.
Yeah, it's like a scale.
So it's
I like
more
that.
like
Yeah.
so they were both at the point where if they fail one more roll, they're dead permanently.
Yeah.
And that's the point where the whole group was like, "Oh, wait a minute. We just spent 8 days of downtime to craft 10 health potions, and we didn't use a single one during the fight." And the one still alive player was like, "How fast can I get these health potions?" And I was like, "You can get one of them, but the other one will have to roll." And so got one, the other one managed to roll success, so they all survived.
Oh, good.
Oh.
Good.
But I did not hold back anything during that fight. And it was it was a monster that was, it was balanced to be like the end of a story arc solo boss. Like it had no ads, it was just a big monster.
Mm.
And but they managed to get it down, and they were actually 1 PC short.
That scares me because that means you've been warmed up now. So
True.
you're warmed up into it. Oh no.
Yeah, you gotta store those health
Yeah,
potions. No,
we
they actually made those health potions in preparation because they were not like potions of healing. They're called elixirs of life, so they give you a bonus to saving throws against poisons as well.
Oh,
And they were
neat.
supposed to go into like an underground tunnel with about a bunch of poison flowers. So they made those for another purpose, and then when they roll their encounter table, they just roll this like it was essentially like a hill-sized Venus flytrap monster.
I love that.
I like that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I like that
So
a lot.
it had several different things it could do. It could either like do a barrage of attacks against one person, or it could do like many attacks at a lot of people at the same time. And it also ate one of them. Just like a little.
See, that's
Rudy
when
would
you
know. Yeah,
that's when you
see,
cast your anti-life shell
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you just make yourself the most painful little morsel you
Too
can.
bad it was a rogue, didn't have any spells.
Oh,
Oh,
that's when
no.
you start stabbing.
From the inside.
in-
But
Inside.
also with how Pathfinder scales things, it was just like this monster, in order to hit the one with the least amount of armor class, I just had to roll above a 5. And
That's
because a
nuts.
crit in Pathfinder 2, as long as you get 10 above the like what you needed, it's an automatic crit. So I crit a lot of times.
Oh
Oh.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yikes. Josie, do you hold back with Dramonia? Is a question. Also, I just
Oh,
thought
did
of
someone
something
ask
that
that?
I. Yeah,
Did I
I'm gonna
miss a
ask
question?
that. No, it was just asked. Just asked.
Do you hold back with Dramonia? Yes and no. It's more that I plan things to make sure that they feel appropriate. But there are also a lot of times where I love it when the players get me. Like Ash's Force Cage trapping 2 of the lieutenants, or whenever Gerald managed to get off a hold monster that sticks. It's one of those things like, yeah, but that's also part of the game, because if that specific thing hadn't happened, it would have been a train wreck for the party. Usually when I work out the math, when I do the balancing, I think of like, how difficult is this fight meant to be, but also how much progress has the player made. Like the characters, how well equipped are they? Because this is also something I've said now for the big fight coming. You saved all 4 of the Dragon Essence carriers, and I will not hold that against you. You managed to keep those powers away from Jalira, which I will say will make the fight a lot easier than it could have been, because you now have 2 extra NPCs coming with you into battle, and you've kept those power spikes away from Jalira.
Yeah.
And I want to reward that. I want you
Yeah,
to
this-
feel like it makes a difference to have that. That is a lot of things I think about when making combats. Like, I don't want the effort of the players and the characters to not show.
That's a trap that I find a lot of like big sort of epic RPGs, like video games, actually fail with. You know, you take games like Mass Effect, Dragon Age, and for example, the final encounters are always the same, regardless to how much power you gain over the course of the game, right?
It is actually one
always the
thing
same.
it's actually one of the things I don't really like about the Bethesda games, that the world scales with you.
The recent ones, absolutely. Yep. No, I agree.
Yeah, I don't really like that, because it makes all of my effort feel like it didn't matter.
Go back to Morrowind. Oh, Morrowind, and then go straight for the ash volcano. Oh, you get bodied.
You get bodied.
Yeah,
Hey.
and I've been playing Dragon's Dogma on my own time lately, and they have a similar thing where it's like, no, everything has their own level. So if you go there too early, you'll get murked. If you go there way late, you'll have a breeze. And I want you to have the same vibes. That's why every now and then I've thrown in encounters that have been stupidly easy.
Oh, the wedding.
Because yeah, the encounters.
The
Yeah,
wedding.
that's one of them.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason for those encounters to have leveled up.
Yeah.
Like, there's no narrative tool to say like, oh, this is why they would be better. For Jalira, I made it clear whenever she fights you, she will develop a countermeasure. Like, she's the only, I think, creature in this that I've been actively evolving, because that's part of who she is. Otherwise, I've been very much like, no, these are their abilities, this is what they can do. Like the lieutenants, if you'd fought them one at a time, easy breezy cover girl.
Hmm.
But the fact that they were all three at one place is what made it difficult. And you had to,
Good though.
you also had to make sure that they didn't kill Dionysus.
Mm.
So the difficulty spike was not only in that they were many, but also that you had a handicap, and then there was also the second phase where, depending on in what order you killed them, because I didn't really show it to people, but I actually had finished stat blocks. I can bring them up of what the various bosses would be depending on which one you killed last. I was taking some inspiration from Ornstein and Smo in Dark Souls.
Yep.
Like, for example, you ended up with Marnie last.
Story wise, I
So-
feel like that was perfect.
That was the
by
right
way.
one.
It was
That was
story
great.
perfect.
It was amazing. But what happened then was that she went from being Marnie the Innocent was her name, like stat block wise at first, but then she became the Collector Mencium because she collects people like they are trinkets. She plants little bits of herself. And what she did in her final form was that she absorbed into her ooze body these other two and incorporated their abilities.
Hmm.
Yes, video games, you will learn through pain. But then we have, if Martin, his basic stat block was called Martin the Reanimator, because that was just his whole spiel. And if he had been the last one alive, he would become Martin the Mortis Carnifex, which is like the apex predator or the apex murderer. And he would have had massive abilities that is just all about staying alive. He would have been one of those huge damage sponges.
And it was
Where
already
he had
difficult.
He had a massive health pool. He didn't have a lot of like abilities. Like Marnie was jumping around, she was throwing acid everywhere. Whereas Martin would have been just pretty much grounded in one spot. He would have had his scythe on a long chain. He would be whipping around. He had abilities where he could just like put saving throws on people to give you debuffs, and he could just constantly every turn, if he wanted to, either turn someone's speed to 0 or give himself a chunk of temporary hit points. So he was just all about taking that damage and being like, you can't kill me,
yeah.
I'm the master of death.
Which Rudy would have had words about.
They would have fought. They would have
Like
fought.
the
And they did,
headmaster,
but-
yeah, would have had words.
Yeah.
And then we had Marvin. His basic one was Master of Mycelium, and he was just he was actually in base a druid stat block that I buffed, and he had those spores, the mushrooms.
I'm so glad we didn't get Marvin. I'm so glad. That's why I nuked him first. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
I
but
was like,
he had
never
an extra,
again.
He had an extra thing where he could just trigger the mycelium damage as a bonus action, so he would keep chunking you down. But as he would have leveled up, he would have become Marvin the Apex Asomicete. And in this form, he would have just been a massive pile of fungus. Where he's just a full plant. He's a plant creature in his stat block.
Oh my god, burn him. Just keep burning him.
I brought
He
so
would
much
have
fire to
just-
that fight.
Yeah, he would just he didn't have any real attacks. He just has that he can throw out these like puffs of spores. He doesn't have any movement. He's just a pile of fungus and mold.
That's nuts. That's nuts.
So
Yeah.
there was a lot
Yeah.
that could have happened.
I feel like we got the best one for the story, but also just hearing what they can do,
Mm.
I'm so happy we got the one that we did, even
Yeah,
if she
and
was
think-
scary.
Oh.
Thank you, Solaria. I put a lot of effort into the names
Oh,
specifically.
they are so cool.
It's
right?
like, on one hand, it's almost a shame that we don't get to fight them and see them. But on another hand, you might take inspiration from what you've created here, Josie, in another campaign at another point and be able to bring something like it
Yeah,
back.
Definitely.
So none of the efforts are
Definitely.
wasted.
we kind of saw them because they kind of came out in
In Marnie, didn't
in
they?
one of
Yeah.
one of them came like Martin came up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they all
something.
had that thing where they
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
abilities from the others.
Yeah,
and that was
I did
just
like that.
that was just a representation of how Marnie
Mm.
does it.
Mm.
Is that she just actively takes their abilities. So part of hers was that she had some of their powers specifically, rather than just giving themselves a huge power up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
actually actively took their ability.
Well,
I like that.
I hate to be a bit of a party pooper, but we are hitting 11
shit.
p.m. here in Melbourne, and I do have work
There
tomorrow.
are some people working tomorrow.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So
I
so
think we
we might have to wrap up.
wrapping it all up.
Yeah.
Well, if I may end us on another cool title high note, as we come to this Sunday, and the party will do their final preparations and then finally do their assault on the Cinder Furnace in the Underdark, they will in fact be joined by the 4 Ur Dragons. And the 4 of the players, because we didn't know if we would have Denny or not, we had to sort of plan around what we could do if we wouldn't have Denny. So the 4 players, Cuddly, Ozzy, Orby, and Roju, will be controlling one of these NPCs as well, and they have their own stat blocks I've sent to the players. They've had a look through, so there's gonna be a lot happening. There will be some extra rules. We have done some revision to the Josie Poser Epic Encounters tactics, the Jeet rules. They have been changed slightly, but I'm just wanna mention the names of these stat blocks. We have, in alphabetical order, we have Endirial Quakemaker as the blue dragon with lightning powers. We have River Songsword Toxin Blade.
Oh, it's so good.
That's my
who we all
granddaughter.
know. We have Tura the Snowscaper. And we have Yarig Scorchborn.
So
They're
good.
just so good.
They're so good.
Also, I'm so happy that came as a surprise because I like almost spoiled it in one of the episodes recently. That I was like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
I'm so
that
happy you didn't
was-
know. I was like, I mean,
Yeah.
How
so
much do you
these
like those
these
names?
NPCs will not have like character stats. They won't necessarily have classes and features as a player character would. Instead, I have taken them and made stat blocks for the players to reference. But then I might, as a DM, also add in some little tidbits, and there's gonna be a lot of things happening.
Yeah, because like I think that ordinarily, we want this fight to be, epic, and we wanted to have all these characters here. But like normally when we've done this, Josie's had to play like all the other characters, and we've just been
and
us.
I want to focus on being bad here.
So yeah, we're gonna be the ones gonna be dual wielding the characters, and hopefully we don't get a little too distracted by it. So it'll be interesting. It's gonna be very, very cool. It's like the first time
It'll be
I've ever done
very,
anything
very
like that.
cool.
So neat. But yeah, I think that has to do us,
That's it.
unfortunately. Sorry.
I'm
I
sorry,
don't
we
know if
didn't
you
do
would
too
say
much of a
unfortunate,
recap.
like, thank you
Yeah.
all for being here.
Ah, this was
has been
amazing.
lovely.
Mm.
This has been amazing. Thank you, everyone who tuned in and was here. Wonderful questions, everybody.
Oh yeah, thank you.
I'm going full evil. That's right. How long is the finale in Earth hours? At least 8 hours of game time, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
for
think
the whole
across the
thing.
3, because we're sort of like 3 episodes plus maybe an epilogue. So
Mhm.
yeah, so you're gonna get at least 8 hours of. Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be good.
It is gonna be.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna
Yep.
be wonderful.
Where are we going?
We should go to Dolly.
Go to
I
Dolly?
I was just wondering.
Because
Do
Dolly's playing Small Land, and it is like Valheim meets A Bug's Life and like Thumbelina. And it's a game I have been
Well, that's
sitting on my hands
beautiful.
trying not to buy. I want to buy it so bad, but money is what money is.
All right, I will set us up in raid mode.
Yes, please do. Do you need me to do the raid command, Coley, or?
Got it.
Oh my gosh.
I can do
There
it
we
from the
go.
chat.
You can do it from the chat. Look
Oh,
at that.
but you can click the button to send us if you
I
want.
can click the button.
This here we go. Okay, you click the button to
Okay,
send us, but I'll set it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
Well,
the
I gotta take us to the goodbye scene. So,
Okay, goodbye.
goodbye everyone.
everybody.
Bye.